Um.
We might have had some hesitation there, but we're here. We're
here, that was because I kept on clicking the intro, but it was not going for a second.
That was funny, but yes. Hello, everyone. We are back here for the next episode of A Conversation with Kely. And guys, we're here. The Traitors season 2 is starting up. This is something I think everyone, when they saw the cast, has been really excited for, and it's here, and we're here to talk about everything that went down. But before we do, I am here, my lovely and beautiful co-host Allie. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. I'm just pretty much just staying home today because it's like really snowy, sadly.
It was yesterday for me.
And I saw Mean Girls last night, and I had my work party on Monday, and then overall that's pretty much it. And then did a few errands on Monday, but yeah, I didn't really do a ton this on my days off. Just a few little things, and yeah. And then today is just gonna be a chill day, which is nice.
Yes, we finally have time to do this podcast. We were trying to do it on Monday, didn't happen. Then we tried to do it yesterday, didn't really feel like doing it, so we're doing it now. But yeah, Traitors season 2, like I said, we binged through all of season 1 last week to get prepared for this. And I mean, I guess I'll just ask you right now, because I know we talked about it in the draft, but like when you saw this cast, what was your initial reaction going into this season?
I was so excited to watch it. Because it's just such a great cast. Obviously some people I don't know a lot about, obviously, prior, but
what do you mean? You don't know all the things about my boy John Bercow? Come on.
It makes me want to catch up on the OC more, or the Real Housewives of OC and other Housewives shows. I want, because I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but I haven't seen the whole way through for those shows. So I like to watch those and other things like that. Maybe The Challenge more. We'll see. Because that one I've never really gotten. The Challenge is something I've never really gotten into much, but it'd be cool. Maybe I'll check it out one day soon. Just check it out and see if I actually like a different season. Because I think I've only watched one full season.
Oh, I thought you didn't watch a full season.
No, I think, what was the one season I watched? Was it Vendettas? I don't know. It was one of them. And that was the only one I watched full way. The rest of them, whenever I've watched other than that, it's been maybe one episode or just or stopped after a few episodes. But overall, this season is just such a great cast so far. And obviously I was so hyped for Sandra and Parv and Dana and Dan and Janelle and everything, because obviously I love Big Brother and Survivor. And they're just legends, so I was so happy. They're so excited.
And the fact they were able to get them back too is insane. People have been saying this. It's CBS probably is feeling so embarrassed right now, because it's they can't get back the true legends, but the Traitors can.
Oh yeah, Dan hasn't been on reality TV in years, since BB14.
Yeah.
So.
And then Parv and Sandra were on Winners at War, I assume. Yeah.
Where is it?
Because they both won.
I know Sandra was on that season. Hold on. Yes. Oh yeah, Sandra and Parv were there.
Yeah, that's what I figured. Because
they did not win it though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I will just say, as someone who only knows Dan and Janelle going into this, I was still, really excited getting to see some of these people for the very first time. You guys know there's a lot of Survivor I haven't seen. So, Parvati and Sandra are people that I've heard about, but I have never gotten the chance to actually see them play. So this is really my first impression. And I gotta say, I know we're only 3 episodes in, but this truly feels like an event. This feels like a must-see reality TV event. It's like, let's get together all the Titans that we possibly can. And I'm just in like disbelief that the people they were able to get, because this is just, I mean, I think we knew this was
Literally.
going to be really great, but like this is even better than I could have imagined. Like this is such an incredible season already. I'm so happy it's weekly as well, because like this is not a season I would have liked to talk about like just in one video. I like that we have multiple videos to like
Me
really
too.
revel in this season
I
and get
know,
excited
'cause
for what's to come.
yeah,
So
I'm honestly so happy. Like they obviously released these first 3, and then
yeah,
after this it's just gonna be one a week. But I'm
yeah.
like very excited about that because
Mhm.
then we can actually talk more about this cast and everything. And
Yeah, definitely.
oh, I'm so happy about it. And so far it's like pretty high up on my rankings.
Yeah, and I will say
There's
right
only 3
now,
episodes in.
yeah, only 3 episodes in. This cast is already just completely surpassing what we got last season. I think we expected that. Last season had a mixture of like, you know, people we see in reality TV and then like, you know, newbies. This season they've done with that entirely. It's all celebrities, and I think it was definitely for the best, because this is making for just such a dynamic and much more strategically sound cast than I think
Oh, yeah.
season 1 was. So we're just going to go ahead and
Yep.
get right into it. I'm going to say right now, this is probably going to be a very long video because we have 3 episodes to talk about. We have
Also, I don't know, I was thinking, like, should we just do, like, one of us talk about one episode, then the second for the another one, and then maybe the third one we split in half?
honestly, yeah, that's probably the
If
best
it just
idea.
like, if it just goes a little quicker?
Yeah, it does go quicker that way. That's a good idea. Let's do
So
that.
why don't you do episode 1, I'll do
Yeah.
2, and then we'll do, like, one of us does the first half of 3, then the other half for
Yeah, can we please split 3? Because like I have a lot to say about that one, I'm sure.
Yes.
But yeah, episode 1. So listen, episode 1, I wasn't expecting for there to be a lot to talk about because last season was very like straightforward. We introduced the Traitors. Not the case this season. We are starting right off the bat, and we got some crazy shit going on, but we're gonna get right into it. So Alan welcomes us back to the castle. He introduced us to all the iconic celebrities and reality TV show legends. And again, you're in pure disbelief that they were able to get some of the people that they were. And in one of the cars, we have Marcus and Larsa talking about how they're the first couple to ever be on this show. We kind of talked about this in the draft that like this is something that maybe is going to come up this season, but we didn't know if they were going to care about. In short, yeah, they very much care about it. They make a really big deal out of these two being a couple, and I mean it makes sense.
They really do.
Like if let's say Marcus is a traitor and Larsa's a faithful, he's probably never going to kill Larsa. So it's like it already gives them that unfair advantage
like
other people just don't have. So
like,
what did you think about this? Like a showmance being on the show?
It was honestly very interesting to see
Mhm.
them actually having, like, a real life couple.
Yeah.
I was like, obviously, I don't think they turn on each other, like, right away, but I do see, like, if they make it farther kinda thing, like, I can see
Yeah.
them turning on each other if they have to, but I don't see it being, like, right away, like, because obviously, like,
Yeah.
for now, I can see them at least, like, protecting each other for at least some rounds. I mean, I thought it was pretty interesting to see them, like, both on the show. It's a very interesting dynamic.
Yeah. I mean, I will say, I think right now, just based on what we've seen, I feel like Larsa would turn on Marcus. I don't know if
Yeah.
Marcus turns on Larsa, but it would have been interesting to see. But
Yeah, it'd be very interesting for sure.
so Marcus says people look at him as a big friendly giant, but in all honesty, he's a cutthroat player with Jordan blood in his DNA and is coming for the gold. Parvati tells her car that she would prefer not to see Sandra. There's already kind of beef going on there. And then Sandra says that her career in Survivor has overprepared her for the Traitors. She can look people in the eye while telling them a lie, smiling in their face. They would think she's their best friend in the game when in fact she's there to destroy them. And I mean, just based on this, I had a feeling that Sandra was going to be a traitor, and I'm still not ruling it out. I still think there's a possibility she could get recruited, but spoilers,
I can see it. Yeah, I can definitely see it. Oh my god, if she ends up being a traitor at some point,
with the ones we have, yeah.
Like obviously, spoilers. Obviously, she's not yet, but I mean, if she like becomes a traitor like in a few episodes, I will like cry because like that's like the best like 4 possible.
Mm-hmm. So they all make their way to the castle. We get this really funny moment with Peppermint saying that the gate agent looks really creepy. I thought that was kind of a funny moment. CT is not surprised to see Johnny Bananas, or he refers to him Banana Head, and says he can't do anything without him. If he and Bananas were in Neverland, he would be Rufio and CT would be Peter Pan. The vibe I get, listen, I've only seen Bananas in one other show, and technically I haven't because we only watched one episode of House of Villains. Bananas is like the cocky guy that's like front and center. Everyone knows he's a target. He like actively makes himself a target. CT is like a lot more low key and just generally seems like a nice guy. And that's why I definitely think CT for me right now is the player I enjoy watching more.
Oh yeah. CT is honestly like, he's kind of the person so far. I feel like it's kind of a wild card. Like he's like such a question mark for me. I don't know. I have no idea where he's gonna go. Like if he's gonna go in like a round table, in a breakfast. We'll see. Like I am enjoying him though so far. He's being very like low key.
Yeah. So then we immediately see the person that, I mean, I was the most excited to see this season, Mr. Dan Gheesling himself. And I will just say right now, the man has not lost a step. Like he gets right back into that like strategic, just mastermind type mode that he does so well. And I think he does a really great job with that. Socially, we'll talk about that. There's definitely some things I'm worried about when it comes to Dan this season, but I feel like, I think you can agree with me strategically. I mean, he just got right back into like, he really has not missed a step. It does not feel like he's been away from reality TV as long as he has. Like he did so well strategically already. So
definitely.
And we find out when he sees Janelle, he gives her a big hug and informs us he actually hasn't seen her in over a decade. The last time he saw her was when he was voting her out on Big Brother 14, which is crazy. I would have thought that they stayed in touch, but I guess not. So he says the caliber of this past.
Yeah, they're probably just like, they both are probably just like so busy with their lives. They probably just haven't seen each other, which is like wild.
Janelle's too busy bullying people on Twitter, but yeah. So he says the caliber of this cast is exactly why he wanted to play this game. There are competition show legends like Sandra, who's won Survivor twice. There's a former world champion boxer playing the game, although he doesn't understand why he's here. Honestly, I don't either. Like, I will say the one thing is that Deontay is like very out of place on this cast. Like, he very much gives me the vibe of like the newbies in season 1. Like, that is definitely the one thing I will say is that I like Deontay, but I don't feel like he fits in this cast whatsoever.
Yeah, I like him a lot, but he's someone I don't see making it that much farther. Like I do enjoy him, like he's entertaining so far, but like he's someone I don't see making it that far, sadly.
Yeah. So he says he's glad he is because it's a thrill of a lifetime. And if this were the 90s, it would be like the Traitors playing with Mike Tyson. So we see a bunch of them mingling. Trishelle says she wants to be a traitor because people might know her as a calculating bitch on the show. We'll talk about her a little bit later. No, not a fan. I will say not a fan, but we'll get into her. So Alan comes out, makes a truly grand entrance filled with smoke. And like Alan Cumming knows how to just make that amazing grand entrance. Like I just love the theatrics. Yeah. He's such a great host. I said in season 1, but like he is just such an amazing host. And I really love what he brings to the table on the show. So MJ says Alan Cumming is amazing and a chef's kiss of a human being and is so swaggy. And Alan says they all look ready to engage in a game of treachery, deceit, and murder. And what a game it will be because he stands there before them looking at a sea of schemers, cutthroat competitors, 21 of them for now, but who knows what the future holds. This may be the most important game they've ever played. Just then that the winner will walk away with up to $250,000. He says he will soon select the traitors and explains to them how the game will work. So he tells them to make their way into the castle, make friends, and swap stories. But be warned, in this game, there are no BFFs. Of course, the BFF stands for betrayers, fakes, and fraudsters. So immediately we see some challengers mingling. I think we expected this. This is a very challenge, dominate heavy. Although I will say the most dominant is actually the housewives. There's a lot of them.
They are, yeah.
Agreed. I thought this was going to be like very challenge heavy. Like it was mainly going to be the people on the challenge. Like they were going to be in like, like it was going to be mostly them, but it seems like it's more housewife centric, which we'll talk about. But we do get this moment that's to be expected. Bananas, Trishelle, and CT are talking about how it's crazy. They are the first 3 to show up in the bar. CT says that the last time he saw Trishelle was on the challenge. He doesn't think that they ended it on the best of terms. He hopes that there's no resentment. Very, very awkward between them. I'm very much wondering.
It was so awkward.
I'm
like,
very much wondering what's going to happen here. Cause like, I think every time you think they're going to turn on each other in these first 3 episodes, they don't, but I feel like it still could happen. Like Sandra says, and we'll talk about it in like a later episode. She says like, if I start to get suspicious of Parv, I'm going to throw her name out. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens here. I mean, I don't think she can murder Sandra. Like that's the thing. I don't think she
so
can, because I
either.
think it'd be too obvious. So
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna turn on each other right now. Like I can see them like at least like sticking together for a bit.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I don't know what's gonna happen there. But
we shall
so basically, Trishelle says her and CT have not always gotten along because trust is earned and not given. She doesn't trust him, but hopefully she'll be a traitor, so she won't have to worry about it. So Peppermint and Parvati bond a little bit, and Sandra walks in, and then we get this interaction that DM Rocks is talking about, where Parvati says that her and Sandra are meeting again for the first time in a long time. They've both known Survivor on a season where she lost and Sandra won. They have a little contention between them over who is a true queen of Survivor, so maybe they'll see who's the queen of the traitors. So Sandra extends her hand to Parv, and Parvati says that she accepts it, and the 3 of them agree to keep each other alive as long as they can. And this would have been such a good 3. Like, generally, I would have loved this 3, but spoilers, I don't think it's going to happen.
Yep. Sadly, but that would have been so good.
Yeah, definitely. So Sandra says she will be sticking to her word, but the first sign deception she will be taking care of once and for all. What is your over-under of Sandra betraying Parvati this season? Now, how likely do you think that's going to happen on a scale of 1 to 10? How likely?
I feel it's at least it's at least an 8. I can see her betraying her at some point. I wouldn't say yet, but like at least in a couple episodes I can see it. Because I mean, that's just who Sandra is.
Yeah, no, I've heard she's like, you don't want to cross her.
Yeah, exactly.
So Phaedra, who I will say may be the star of this season for me already. I fucking love her so much. I've never seen her in anything but like similar to Shereé. Like she was born to play the Traitors. Like I generally think this is entirely up her alley. She's never done anything like this before, but she kills it in these 3 episodes, and I love her.
Really does
in this season. So
like, she's probably like in the best spot right now.
Socially, definitely socially. So she prays to help her get through this game because she doesn't know there's a lot of winners here from a lot of hard games like Survivor, in which people eat rattlesnakes and live in the jungle and hike naked. And she's never done any of that. She just glamps, and she barely does. She only glamped at the Ritz-Carlton.
That was funny.
Yeah, that was a really funny moment. So her and CT take a look at everyone that they're playing with. Very unexpected duo, I will say. Her and CT.
Yeah.
It seems like she, aside from the people that she has to work with, spoilers, it seems like CT's probably the person that she trusts the most. So yeah, I mean, I really want to see more interactions between these two because I really like the first impression we got of them.
Oh yeah.
So Kevin talks to Janelle and Peter about how everyone here is so used to competitions. We get this great moment here where Janelle says she only does competition shows. And this is why this cast is so great. You got people like Janelle, who is like so ready to see people from like the challenge and Survivor. And then you got people like Kevin, who is none the wiser. She notices Bananas, who's making
I feel like Kevin is just kind of like a person who is like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Like he's just someone who could probably like go, like I can see him going pretty soon, like in a breakfast or something. Because I don't see a lot from him. Like we do see stuff, but he's just like collateral damage. That's the word I was looking for.
I could definitely see that. I think he's easily
someone like a Peter too. Like Peter's just like the nice guy, but I feel like he's not going far either.
Yeah. So basically she notices Bananas, who's making a toast to all of them, tells Kevin he's won the challenge. Oh yeah, that was great. We'll get to that in a second. But
that was funny.
tells Kevin that he's won the challenge like 7 times, and Kevin's asking which challenge she's talking about, thinking she's just saying that like, oh, he's a challenge beast. He's very good at this challenge. So he's like, what challenge? And she's like, no, it's the challenge, like the show. And he asks what it's about. I thought that was easily one of the funniest interactions like of the 3 episodes. I really like this a lot. And again, I just really like that we have people that are all from reality shows, but some of them like don't know other reality shows. They only know their show, and you can already tell. Like, and I think that's the thing with Kevin is like he doesn't really watch reality shows that aren't like his. He's in Bling Empire, which I believe is just, you know, they don't vote each other out or anything like that. So he's not used to that kind of thing. And I don't really know anything.
I don't really know anything about that show.
Yeah, me either. But I thought it was really fun to see their interaction. I thought it was one of the funniest parts of the 3 episodes.
Oh, yeah, that was so good.
Yeah. So meanwhile, Phaedra tells CT, going back to DM Rox's comments, that Bananas gives Repo Man vibes. She also says that she loves a good politician with John in the house. And I could have just seen a whole episode of just Phaedra like roasting everybody and just giving her own little first impressions. Like this was so much fun.
Literally, it's so funny.
Yeah. So she mentions how the wife of Scottie Pippen is also here, and that's Michael Jordan's son. He needs to wake up and smell the coffee. And then Bananas then asks John if he was actually a member of parliament. He says he was. Banana says he thought he was the host when they first got there. And I will just say, listen, I know John is a politician. He was kind of made for reality TV. Like, I love him so far.
I love him so much. He's so funny, and he's just like such a king.
I love his just very like calm demeanor when he's like saying shady stuff about everyone. Like it's so good. It's everything I would have wanted.
I just want him to go far because he's an icon. What if
me too.
Could he just get recruited as a traitor?
Oh, I feel like he'd be a really bad traitor, but yeah.
I feel like they'd guess him probably very easily, but it'd be so entertaining.
Yeah, so John says he's a retired politician where backstabbing and deception are all part and parcel of the political life. No, I'm not going to keep doing that. That's terrible. But over the year, he's developed a knack for detecting who frankly is trying to lie, to deceive, or to cheat for material gain. And again, I just from this one moment, I love this guy. I can't wait to see more of him. So Tamra that asked Larsa if she'd murder her boyfriend if she's a traitor, and Larsa says if she'd have to, she would, because they're there to play the game individually, and he agrees he'd do the same. He says when push comes to shove, they will definitely be murdering each other. And listen, like, this is what you have to say, but I still wouldn't believe it. Like, this is very much giving the vibe of like us playing a game together and people saying, are you going to target Allie? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll target her eventually. Like, you have to be like, I feel like they were not in a great spot just from this moment, because it's obvious people are already looking at them as like a couple. I think the only way they would have done well is if people didn't know they were a couple, but because they're celebrities, everybody knows. And also because there's a lot of housewives there who are friends with Larsa, they also know. So
honestly, Larsa, I'm very like iffy with. Like, I don't hate her.
I'm not big on
but something she does with some other person later, it's just no.
Yeah. So Larsa says she feels like some of the people might be intimidated because she's playing the game with her boyfriend. She feels like they think she has an advantage, but they're both there individually. It's great that he's there, but at the same time, she wants to win, and so does he. It's not like they're a team. And here's the thing. I think if this was any other game, I agree. But in this game, no, it definitely does give her an advantage, because it's like if they're both faithfuls, they're never going, like if one's a traitor, they're never going to murder the other. They're going to keep the other there for a while. The other one's probably going to go a lot farther because of that. Like, there's a lot of asterisks with having your significant other in a game, and I feel like that's something that Larsa is kind of overlooking here. So I'm not too surprised to see them be targeted almost immediately here. So all right, so we get to the Traitors reveal, and oh my god, I mean, I was just really anticipating this. There was a lot of potential for who the Traitors could be. I generally don't think they could have picked any better Traitors, to be honest with you.
I know, it's like, it's fantastic. Yeah. Oh, I'm so happy.
So it's time for the reveal of the Traitors. They all make their way to the round table. Can we talk about the Hunger Games type music that plays every time they go to the round table? I love it. It's like
that's literally what I've been saying the whole time. I'm like, it sounds like Hunger Games music, which is like iconic. It kind of is in a way because it's so intense.
It's so yeah, it's so much more epic. I love it. So we get this moment where I don't think we saw this last season, and I really liked this change. We see Alan actually talk one-on-one with them beforehand, where basically this is his way of determining like who's going to be a traitor and why they should be a traitor. I like this a lot. It showed that like this isn't just random. There is something that goes into it. I don't know if they showed this last season. I don't believe they did, but I really liked this change a lot. So
me too. It was great. I think it was just like it was very like spicy and just like a really unique touch.
Yeah. So we asked Peter what his strategy is going into the game. He says he doesn't want to be the loudest voice, doesn't want to put a target on his back in any way, and listen way more than he speaks for sure. And I'll say this to Peter. Even if he tried, he's not going to be the loudest voice in the room. There are way bigger personalities in this game. Like he's going to be eaten alive. Like
he's like too nice, I think.
He's literally him and Kevin are just the nice guys. Like that's the best way to sum it up.
Yeah, they're like just those, like I said, they're like collateral damage. Like I can just see them leaving at breakfast.
Yeah. So he then interviews Bananas and he asks Alan how he feels to be the second best dressed guy on the show. Alan says, "Back off, bitch." So funny. Bananas just being Bananas, basically.
I think Bananas is just such a clown. He's so funny.
Yeah. So he then talks to Deontay about how.
Obviously, there's certain things I don't like that he's done, but I mean, maybe he's grown. I hope because like lately he's been fine.
Yeah. A little bitter on Twitter, but yeah.
Yeah, that's so. No, yeah, he's a little bit bitter, but sir, hopefully you tone down.
So he then talks to Deontay about how he feels about the game. Deontay says he feels he was very confident, as this game is almost the same as boxing with backstabbing and betraying. And I will just say, Deontay has no idea what he's getting himself into. He's like I said, he sticks out like a sore thumb on this cast. Like I don't think this is his thing. I really don't think this is his thing. We'll see, but right now,
honestly, I can see him leaving too. Like if they're trying to go for someone else, but he's another collateral damage. But I can see him actually leaving at a round table.
Yeah, same. So he talks to CT, who he says he thinks he'd be better off finding one of them. Dan tells him the only reason he came was to be a traitor. Which kind of makes me feel like Dan only said yes to the show if they made him a traitor, which, I mean, iconic, because that's what we all wanted. King. So Bergie said, who I keep forgetting is there, to be honest with you. He says he could manipulate everybody.
Why do I feel like Bergie's going to be another, like, Andy and Quentin?
Yeah, we'll see. No, that's more Deontay to me, I think.
Actually, yeah, that's Deontay, too.
Yeah. So Bergie says that he could not manipulate anybody because his lying skills are awful. Sandra then says to give her the chance and make her a traitor. And then he asks Parvati what winning the money would mean to her. She says it would mean a lot because she just got divorced. And so she'd like to buy a home for her and her daughter, but she's not single anymore. She's in a very nice relationship and we love that for her. So, yes. So I forgot who her girlfriend is, but I think she's like a musician or something.
Hang on, let me actually go look right now.
Yeah. While you're doing that, he asks Max to sum up his game plan in one word. He says win, and he asks if there's another word. So Alan then welcomes them to the round table.
She just came out as queer, and she's in a relationship with a comedian and writer.
There you go.
And the person and they're non-binary.
Okay, there you go. So says he will soon be selecting the traitors that will cast a gloomy shade of death each night. This is the last time they will see each other as equals. And in a few minutes, everything's going to change. He tells them to put on their blindfolds, says if he taps them on the shoulder, they are a traitor. And here we go. We're going to get the reveal of the traitors. And I was freaking out immediately because the first person he taps is Dan. And I was freaking out when I heard that he was a traitor because listen, when Dan was cast, I think we all were either thinking he's either going to be a traitor or he's going to immediately be accused as a traitor. And I will say with this cast, a lot of them don't seem to know his gameplay. So I think that actually is going to benefit him. But I mean, come on. you have Dan Gheesling on the cast. You need to make him a traitor. Like, this is where he is at his best. Dan is absolutely the best when he's in like pure villain mode, just like cutting the head off of all this, you know, just like killing, like just getting rid of anybody that he can that's in his way. And he just is in top form here. It's great to see him be a traitor. I'm so excited to see what he's going to bring to I was so excited to see what he was going to bring to the table. And I think this was just such a fantastic choice. He's obviously excited that he was born to be a traitor. It's hunting season for him. He's ready to take these sheep down, and they're not going to see him coming. But yeah, Allie, first thoughts on Dan being one of the traitors.
Oh, I am so happy because like he's definitely like someone I for sure really wanted to be.
Me
like
too.
Just on his game in general and how he plays, I'm just like, yeah, he's born to be a traitor. Obviously right now he's not in the best position, but hopefully he can. I'm hoping he can come back from it because he is a very good talker, especially one-on-ones. Because I hope he can at least like come back and get people on his side and just work his social game a little bit better. But like so far he is killing it. He just needs to work on his social game.
Yeah. So he then taps Phaedra, who I was also really excited for. Even though I don't know her, I was like, you know, she's going to be a great traitor just from her small confessionals we've seen. And I feel like this was just such a perfect choice. He says she's in the secret society of the traitors. She's definitely going to be queen of this castle. And yeah, I mean, Phaedra being a traitor, she just gives that energy of like she's going to go really far. Out of the three traitors we get here, I feel like she's the one that I do have the most confidence in. I just really like what she's doing so far. I think she is probably the one that's least likely to get detected. And I really like what we're getting from Phaedra so far. But what do you think of her as being one of the traitors?
Oh, I'm so happy. Like she just gives like main character energy.
She does.
And she's just so funny. Like she's like very direct, very blunt, very social. Seems like everyone loves her. Like she's definitely in the best spot right now.
And for sure.
I can see her going very far. I can see her at least making finale. If she doesn't, that's a robbery because like, oh, she's killing it.
Yeah, she's probably my winner pick right now, honestly, just from these 3 episodes.
Same.
So Alan then tells them to remove their blindfolds, and the traitors now sit amongst. They may never know who they are or how many there are. So Dan then says, as much as he wants to celebrate and jump up and down because this is what he gets to do, he gets to be a traitor. This is why he came to play. He can't let that slip. He's looking around, scanning, making sure he's trying to find the other traitor. He's trying to turn his throat into the Sahara Desert, not to swallow because it's going to be the loudest thing of all time. And like I said, Dan in confessionals really just hasn't missed a step. He's so good. He's so great to watch. I love Dan so much. But Janelle says that she's a faithful, but she's 100% pissed off. She's not a traitor. Now she's absolutely terrified and could smell bullshit a mile away. I will say right now, Janelle would be a terrible traitor. Like, listen, like, I love what we get from Janelle in these 3 episodes, but her being a traitor would be so fucking obvious. She's such an emotional player. She's not like good strategically.
She's very good. She's very good socially and socially and physically, but strategically she's not good. So I feel like if she was a traitor, it'd be very entertaining, but I feel like she'd be such a mess, and everyone
she'd go
would
out like really early.
Oh yeah. So
she'd be on like Cody or Christian's level, where like she'd say something at the breakfast, and then that'd be it for her.
I think so too. Like I can see her pulling like a Cody.
Yeah. So Dan then, I just read that. So Tamra says she can spot a fake and a phony like that as she snaps her fingers. She's going to be able to spot the traitors, and it's going to be so easy for her. So Alan then tells them that later tonight, the traitor.
Also with Tamra, I could see her going really far because she seems very smart and she's like in a good spot too. Yeah. Like for housewives and like an OG housewife girl, I think she's probably in one of the best spots. And just I feel like she's gonna be like a Kate and a Brandy, but where she's like figures things out, but they don't want to go for her until like final whatever, like before finale or something.
I feel like all the housewives are in a really good spot right now, mainly because of Phaedra. But I think they're all going to go like decently far, so we'll see.
Oh yeah.
But Alan tells them that later tonight, the traitors will meet and decide which one of them are the first victim, but that is not all. The traitors are not yet complete. They will immediately have the power to enlist one more member to their mob. One of them could be turned to the dark side, and if that's not enough, they have the matter of their first mission, which will be shortly, and bids them good night. And I love this twist. Like, yes, they did recruitment last season, but having it happen immediately when they've just formed, I mean, this is the cast to do that in. With this level of strategy on the cast, with this level of caliber, I mean, this is absolutely the cast. You do something crazy like that first. I think this was just such a great first twist.
Oh, I love it. And yeah, I love that they only picked 2 for now.
Yeah.
And then they just bring someone in, like, oh, I just love that so much. And it's just it's so spicy and just really exciting to watch.
And it's a really good way of like changing things up. Like if people went into this like thinking they knew what they were doing, it's like, well, no, you don't. We're doing things differently this year. So
right.
But then we get this moment, and this kind of tells us like just how crazy this cast is going to be. We get this confessional from Phaedra where she says they haven't even met each other, but now they've got to choose someone else to join them. This changed the game because now they got to be strategic and pick an ally that's strong enough to keep the society alive. And after the roundtable, Janelle is Janelle here. Like she pulls a Janelle and she notices John was having some breathing problems and asks if he's okay. He says he is, but he doesn't breathe brilliantly and is slightly asthmatic. And she says that there was a slight hesitation in the walking. And the very last time he did, he started breathing very heavy. He says he can look her in the eye and say he certainly didn't tap him. And she doesn't seem convinced. Immediately, we have tension going on, which I don't think this was something that was happening at all last season. And this just tells us again, this is going to be such a more exciting cast to watch. Like the fact that he's already being called out just for breathe. It's literally he breathed and now he's being called out.
Like
I think it's just so funny. Like I love this.
He said he's just has some asthma. Like he's being himself. He's not showing signs of being a traitor.
Well, I think also like, you know, anything like this, I think everyone's going to be slightly nervous. Like they're going to be worried that it's going to be them. As Alan's walking past you, I think you're still very nervous that, oh my God, he could tap me on the shoulder. So I don't think this is not something to really like put stock into, but it's really funny how much this like continues to gain momentum over these first 2 episodes. So
oh yeah.
Larsa immediately is calling out Parvati as a traitor. She thinks she heard Alan lift his jacket next to her left. And again, just the level of like attention to detail that some of these people have is insane to me. Like I would have never noticed anything like that. If I was blindfolded, I would have just like, oh, he didn't tap me on the shoulder. Like that's it.
Exactly. I will say Larsa just gives like huge like bitch vibes.
She does. Like I'm not really a fan of her. So
I'm not either. Like I mean she's entertaining to watch, like reality TV golds, but like I just don't really like her.
She gives me the vibe of like I'm being the hero and I'm the hero, but I don't know that I'm the hero. Like I don't know that I'm actually the villain. Like that's just the vibe she gives me, and I just don't like that. So
exactly.
Parvati says she doesn't think Alan would make it easy to feel himself touching somebody. Larsa says she could feel the vibration of him lifting his jacket. And again, this is ridiculous. We're literally talking about vibrations here. Like that's what this whole argument is about. Bananas then asked what she's trying to say and if she's a traitor. Parvati says it's a good strategy for someone who's trying to not be caught as a traitor, which, yeah, that's exactly what you do. You throw someone under the bus immediately. Just listen to blame the person right next to them, and it's really shady. Parvati says that Larsa's out of her mind already coming out of the gates, accusing her and thinks she's going to sit down there and take that, and maybe now she can be recruited since she suspects her anyway. So, yeah, immediately Parvati is not feeling great with Larsa. She wants Larsa out, and I don't really blame her because this
I feel like she's the kind of I feel like
Hmm.
Larsa is going to be the kind of person who's just like gets annoyed with like the other women.
But yeah, I could definitely see. Well, not the housewives, but yeah, the other ones.
Yeah, not the housewives, but the rest.
Yeah. So Bananas is with Kevin. He pulls out a pair of binoculars. I thought this was pretty funny. He jokingly looks at the heartbeat around his neck to detect if he's nervous at all. And maybe he's a traitor. He says he's at 120 BPMs. So Larsa talks to Trishelle, Tamra, and Dan and says Parvati's energy was off until she said something to her, especially with how automatically defensive she was, when all she said was to her left. So Ekin, who again, is a very interesting character so far. Very similar to Janelle in the sense where, like, I think she's terrible strategically. Kind of gives Airhead vibes with, like, the way that she talks. Like, she kind of reminds.
She just gives like ditzy vibes, and she kind of gives like the was it Angelica last season? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she's just like so bad at the game. Like I can see her being like an Angelica.
Yeah, definitely. So she also thinks Parvati was being manipulated by putting it back onto her. She says she's done this before in psychology. So Dan says he couldn't feel any better right now because at this point he doesn't have to cause a diversion. He doesn't have to blame anyone, which, like, yeah, this is like perfect for the Traitors. There's all this chaos going on around you. People are being called out. That's not you. Like, this is like perfect. So Larsa did all the work for him. If she's a traitor, she's playing the game very hard and very fast. If she's not a traitor, she could be a great early recruit that they set up to frame early on in the game. So we get this really funny confessional from Ekin-Su where she says she does think people underestimate her, thinks she's a pretty girl who probably loves herself and not smart, but she believes in aliens and conspiracy theories, loves cartoons. She can twist her arm all the way back. She's very quirky, weird, and relatable, and people love that about her. This gave me the vibe of like Bronte and Big Brother 18, where people are like, oh, people think I'm just dumb and innocent, but really I want to like solve math problems for the CIA. She also gives me like Ashley vibes and like Big Brother 14. Like, I just get that vibe from her. Like
I do too.
She's someone who, yes, can be kind of annoying, but there's also something like endearing about it because she's just like really fun to watch. And she's very unpredictable so far. Like, I really am enjoying her so far.
She's kind of wholesome.
Yeah, she is. She is. So Janelle talks to Peter and Phaedra, once again going on about how she is very suspicious of John due to how much he was hyperventilating. She doesn't buy that it was just asthma, as she is asthmatic too. Again, I can't believe we're still going on about this, but it's so funny to me. So Bergie thinks he tried to defend himself a bit too much. Janelle says if she gets murdered tonight, it has to be him because she was the only one sitting next to him that heard that. And if she goes, they have to banish him. And Phaedra says she isn't going to say anything to anybody about it. So Phaedra says that everyone's whispering, trying to figure out who the traitors are. Her strategy is just to listen, take notes, and agree, but not actually participate in those conversations. That's the whole key of the game. Do just enough, but not too much. And I feel like, yeah, this is exactly what Shereé did so well last season. She listened when she needed to. She agreed. She never really tried to push anything too hard unless it needed to be done. But especially in the early game, like you can especially watch, she was very much just like an observer. Like she listened into conversations. She jumped on things when she needed to. And I think Phaedra is like already perfecting that. Like I think she's doing so well already here. So
she really is. Like she's just she's someone I could see being a triple threat, like socially, physically, and strategically. Like she was born for this game.
Oh yeah. So Peter, who we get a lot more of than I expected to be honest with you. Like I thought he had a lot of stuff to do in this episode. I meant to say, but basically Parvati comes in. Peter jokingly asks if she's a traitor. She says she isn't. Larsa heard nothing, which I mean, kind of ironic considering what happens a little later on, but we'll get into that. So Ekin-Su talks about Bergie asking how he's feeling, and he says he's not a traitor. She picks up on how fast he is speaking. He says he's not a traitor. She says she isn't saying he is, just that he's speaking fast. Larsa agrees that his cheeks are really red and he's sweating a lot. And again, I think the one thing I will absolutely say about this premiere that I thought was better than last season's is like, these people, I mean, we really get to hone in on just the pure paranoia and everyone's trying to figure out like who's a traitor, who's a faithful early on, trying to pick up on the vibes. I thought this was just
these people
a lot
are
more
hard.
exciting to watch. Whereas last season, it was just kind of like, just we're friends. Like it was very much like a friend Viver type season. This season is much more like, you know, we're coming for everybody. Like no one is safe at this point.
It's because last season, most of them in the finale wanted to just split the money, and Shereé's like, nope.
Yeah, it was so stupid. But Banana says that Bergie is as red as a tomato. He has literally soiled himself, and he really doesn't think he's cut out for this life. And I would agree. I mean, we really don't get much from Bergie in these 3 episodes, but he really just seems like too nice of a guy for this. Like, we really just have not gotten much of anything.
He's another one that's going to get eaten alive. Him, Peter, and Kevin.
Yeah. He's going to go with the breakfast. Like, that's definitely going to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. So... we get to the mission, and if you remember, this was probably my least favorite part of season 1. I was not really into the missions. I didn't really like the way that we're done, but I gotta say, they already have found a way to improve this part of the show, and I think it works much better this time around because
it really
last
does.
season these missions were just, oh, you're adding money to your prize pot. You might, you get to go to the armory. You could possibly get a shield, but maybe you don't. This time around, it's a little bit more exciting. So the bell tolls, and they're told it's time for their first challenge. Alan welcomes everyone to their first mission. Unfortunately, Tamra is not well, so she won't be taking part in the mission. I thought he was about to say that she's like leaving the season. I was like, no, not Tamra. But thankfully, just, like, she's alive.
It was probably it was probably just like sick or something. But
yeah, I was worried this was gonna be like a who was the girl last season that had to leave because she got COVID? I thought it was gonna be like that. So
I
think her name was like Angela or something.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I don't remember. But yeah, I was hoping that it was not. Oh, Amanda, that was her name. Yeah.
That was Amanda.
Yeah, she got COVID. That's why she had to leave. So Alan welcomes everyone to their first mission. Oh, I just read that. So Marcus says he's looking forward to the mission and adding prize money to the pot, and the Traitors will definitely take note of that, and he wants to possibly be recruited. He's up for the challenge because Jordans are known to win anything, so he thinks if he sets his mind to it, he can win. Marcus just gives me like athletic vibes. Like he just gives me the vibe like a guy who's like, I'm good at challenges, but not really that much else. Like I'm kind of just like
I will say I like him more than Larsa as like a person.
Definitely.
But like, I don't. But like, he definitely just seems like the guy who likes to win challenges.
He's just a bro. Like that's the best way to say it. He's just a bro.
Literally.
So for this mission, the Locks of Scotland are rich in mystery, folklore, and legend, and if they're lucky, a nice wee gift shop. They will set this lock ablaze and must work together to assemble a giant beacon in the middle of the icy waters. They will make their way into the water, gather the floating puzzle pieces, and rearrange them in the correct order to help them work out the puzzle pattern if there is a replica image of what it should look like hidden on the shoreline. So once they think it's correct, they will set it alight by pressing down the detonator. If they correctly assemble the pieces within 40 minutes, they will add a whopping 30K to the prize pot, but if they fail, they get nothing. And at this point, I'm like, okay, same thing, not really a fan. Let's just move on. But then Alan adds a bit of a twist to this, which I really like, because he tells them that this year, they're not just playing for money in these missions, they're also playing for their lives. So he shows them a shield. There are 2 of them on the lock and one on land. Any player who decides to take one will be instantly protected from tonight's murder. It is up to them to then figure out what their priority is, money for the group or preserving their life. He also mentions they will be starting this mission tied up. And I thought this was just such a great adjustment to this challenge, because now there's so much more excitement. It's like, okay, now someone is guaranteed to get a shield. Last season, it was like, okay, you maybe could get a shield if you go to the armory. I think Ari was the only person to get a shield last season. I don't think anybody else was able to get it. This time, it's way more exciting because, I mean, we've already gotten way more people having the shield, and I just think it's a lot more exciting to watch the way. What do you think?
I love this adjustment. I love this like adjustment to this to the mission so much, and like it really gives like these people are. I mean, should be playing for themselves. They're trying to win. Like, yes, they can be friends, but they're trying to win a game for money and helping with their family and stuff. So I just think this is such a like spicy ad, which I love.
Yes. It makes for, I mean, some really exciting moments, especially in episode 3. So, So Janelle, of course, is absolutely going for the shield because when she goes into competition mode, she doesn't stop until she wins. And I will say, this is probably Janelle's biggest mistake this season. She is already in like major, like, I'm getting the shield every time I possibly can. No one's going to take it from me. And I just feel like this is going to be not great for her this season.
I know. I mean, she's like, people are already like onto her being selfish, but she's trying to win a game, but like as soon as she doesn't have a shield, she's probably gone because people are like wary about her.
I think she's fine for like breakfast because the Traitors can easily spin this as like, she's really selfish. She's a traitor. She's someone we need to worry about. What I worry about is the round table. I feel like she could easily go in.
She definitely gives. Oh yeah, she's definitely going at a round table for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, Janelle's just being her comp queen self, where she's just
Yeah.
like, I need to win this shield and be safe.
And in this show, I don't think it's good to be like a comp beast. So especially with this twist, like I think if you're winning for the group, that's a different story. If you're constantly trying to get the shields, I don't think that's great. So
definitely.
She immediately goes for the
I am here for her winning these shields. So it's like a good arc for her. It's just like it's definitely not the best game because she's not really in the best spot.
But this is Janelle. Like, this is what, people have said for years. It's like, yes, she's really good at comps, but she really doesn't think through a lot of her decisions. And like, this is a perfect example of that. So she immediately goes for the shield. Parvati is very annoyed about this since she didn't even try to untie her. Sandra's also annoyed by her just straight up abandoning them. So
good.
Immediately we see there's some tension there. So Bananas wants people to see him as an asset to win money. Hope it outweighs them wanting to get rid of him because he's an asshole. This is a good strategy. It's like, he really steps up here. Him and CT and Marcus really step up to try to, make sure that they get the prize pod and things like that. So Deontay is also able to acquire a shield, which was good for him. CT wants the shield, but he really doesn't want to come off looking greedy and selfish like Janelle, but he is able to get the final shield here. So Deontay, Janelle, and CT safe from being murdered. They cannot be murdered in the morning. So after a particularly tough challenge, and despite many people, Peppermint, Marcus, and CT especially, barking orders, which was very distracting because they were all saying different things. In the end, they are able to focus, connect all the pieces together, get everyone back on shore, and press the detonator with only 1 second left to spare. So
that's wild.
Yeah, I've seen people on Twitter kind of call bullshit on this. Might be the case. It was still exciting to watch. I don't really care if that was true or not, because I think it was more exciting that way. But Janelle, CT, and Deontay are now safe. They cannot be murdered. And yeah, like I said, I really like this adjustment to the challenge. I thought this was a lot more exciting to watch. I thought it made for just a lot more intricate sort of gameplay. And I thought this was it made me not check out of the mission. I enjoyed this a lot. So.
Oh, me too. It was like so fun to watch. Just like the shield stuff is honestly the most exciting to watch, and I love it.
Yeah. So we get to the post challenge, and after the mission, many of them are very annoyed by how little help Janelle gave them, also how focused some were on just focusing on getting the shields. So in the car, MJ says to Janelle that whoever gets recruited will be such a dead giveaway, and Janelle thinks it will be someone that is super faithful or benefits them, that they can get information from that person is the most trustworthy. So Ekin-Su asks her car who they think is going to be murdered. Peter says he thinks it will be someone who either helped a lot during the mission or helped very little. And it's like, yeah, those are literally the only possibilities, Peter. But thanks for saying nothing. But Ekin-Su then asks Dan what he would do if he was a traitor. Dan says it's a good question. During dinner, she talks to Peter, Shereé, who we do not get much of anything from Shereé in these. In this first
I
episode.
like her. She's kind of iconic. We just don't really get much from her.
We get more of her in episode 3, I would say, but the first 2 episodes, it's like, who's Shereé? Oh yeah, she's here. So
also, and then like MJ, we don't really know much about either.
We get more of her later on, but yeah. Basically, she talks to Peter, Shereé, and Bananas that Janelle had her eyes on the shield way before the game started. So you automatically can tell Ekin is not a fan of Janelle. This is going to be an issue. I feel like Ekin and Janelle, this is just Kate and Rachel all over again. Like, that's what we're going to see this season. It's going to be Ekin and Janelle, and I'm very much here for that.
It seems like it's all these, like, so many, like, women just, like, fighting it out.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
They're all like, no. They're all being, like, catty.
So Parvati tells Phaedra, this is why we don't see girls' alliances happen a lot, because,
True.
So Parvati tells Phaedra that she thinks the first murder will tell a lot about the traitor's strategy. Phaedra says that learning her and Dan have to recruit makes for a very interesting first twist to the game, but at the same time, she needs to make sure that she recruits someone that's not like her and no one would ever suspect is connected to her. Someone like CT, who's an ultimate gamer. She adores him and loves him. She also thinks she may have a mild crush on him, which I thought was pretty funny.
So good.
cut to the end of the season when we find out these two are dating, make that happen. That'd be so funny.
I would be here for it.
I don't know if either of them are married or anything, but if they're not, then make it happen.
Let me see. I'm actually gonna look.
Yeah, you probably can look that up.
Let's see.
Okay, so Sandra tells her group that she hopes she sees them, all of them, at the next breakfast. Peppermint says she hopes so as well because she did bring some fabulous outfits she'd love to get a chance to wear. And this is where we get to probably the dumbest conflict.
It says here, she is dating an unnamed doctor in the Atlanta area.
Oh, Phaedra is? Okay, well.
And then CT.
Maybe CT's a doctor.
Okay, let's see. He lost. I mean, apparently he went through a divorce.
Okay, well, we'll see.
Last year or something. I'm just kind of like seeing what. Yeah, I mean that's really all.
We're not gonna spend too much more time on that, but basically,
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we get this really dumb interaction between Trishelle and Peppermint, where basically Peppermint talks about how she brought some fabulous outfits she'd love to get the chance to wear. Trishelle says that she did too, and then says if she gets murdered, Peppermint is a traitor. She swears she's kidding, but Peppermint really isn't too sure that she is. We'll get back to that a little bit later. But yeah, this proves to be, unfortunately, a very important moment in these first two episodes. It seemed like something that, like, I feel like a normal person would just kind of like laugh off and forget about, but like they do not in this episode. And by they, I mean Trishelle does not forget about this. So yeah,
Trishelle just annoys me after this.
Yeah. So Dan says that he was not expecting Alan to come out day one and say the Traitors will be recruiting immediately. It's really a critical decision. They don't want to blow it. He doesn't know who the other Traitors are, but he needs someone else in the turret right now who knows how to get stuff done and isn't going to feel bad about it. And then we see what Dan does best with the one-on-ones here. I mean, this is just... So, like, again, Dan has not missed a step strategically what he thinks about the recruitment. Peter says that there's pros and cons to each side, but it'd be very difficult for him to be a traitor. Dan says that he doesn't know who the other Traitors are right now, but he needs someone else in the turret with him who knows how to get stuff done and isn't going to feel bad about it. So he goes to Janelle, says they need to find 30 seconds to talk, and he tells her that they need to work together, and she's very much on board with that. So Dan says that
I can see Dan and Janelle sticking together, at least for now.
I mean, there's no reason for him to target her, especially when she's probably going to continue to just be framed the whole season. Like, I think Janelle is going to be like the Kate, where people just keep calling her out as a traitor.
Yeah, so I can see her leaving like maybe just before finale or like right when finale starts. Like, I can definitely see them keeping her around for that.
Yeah, so Dan says there's an instant connection between them because they've played Big Brother together, so he knows how she operates, and she's a great competitor. With Janelle, she will not blink twice when it's time to do some dirty work, so he knows that he can trust her. He's also considering Parvati, which we love that he's considering Parvati. He says that she's made a living pulling people in to feel like they can trust her, and at the last second, she gets rid of them. He kind of feels like she's the female version of him, which I'm sure you can probably attest to that. Dan, Parvati, very similar players.
Dan and Parv working together. So good.
Yeah. So he talks to Sandra, says he's so excited to play with her as the Survivor Queen. She won twice, which is no joke. Max then comes in, and Max really just shows like how bad he is socially. Like, this is something he does pretty frequently throughout these 3 episodes, and probably what spoilers causes his downfall.
He seems like a nice guy. He's just not that great of a player. He probably didn't know what he was getting himself into.
No. Yeah, because Dan offers him the chance to sit down, and he literally refuses. He literally walks away. He's like, "No, I'm good." Why? Like, he's literally offering you the chance to be a part of this conversation and like strategize with him. But like instead, he's just very like standoffish. And I don't know if it was just he was like nervous or it was just the fact like he didn't know what he was getting himself into. But like he keeps doing this throughout
He's
the
like,
3
honestly,
episodes.
Max is just like, I need to go back to Dancing with the Stars only.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think he didn't expect for this to be like so social. And I think
like so cutthroat and everything.
Yeah, because he's not used to that. And I think we
Yeah.
definitely see him struggle with that here.
He's literally just used to being a dancer.
Yeah. So basically, Dan's unsure why he didn't want to. I'm also not sure why Max didn't want to engage in that. Yeah. So Sandra.
Oh yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Sandra literally says like he's irrelevant, which he kind of is. Not gonna lie. In these first couple episodes, he kind of is. So Dan says there's no one else in the house who has played strategic games like Sandra. She won Survivor 2 times for a reason. He doesn't think many people in this group know what she's capable of. She's ruthless and a stone cold killer. And again, I love Dan's narration here. You can really see he's putting a lot of thought into the recruiting and who to pick. And I just really love getting to see that. I love when Dan is in full like strategic mode. It's so riveting to watch. Like we've been missing this. Like again, the fact we're actually getting this from Dan is just insane to me. So, so we get to the Traitors meetup in the turret. Alan goes to the both of them, make sure they're prepared to take the Traitors oath, and they agree. And then it's time, the first time this season, for Dan and Phaedra to meet each other as the Traitors of the season. And they're both very excited. She says that she never considered that it was Dan because he's so calm, quiet, introverted, and to himself, which we'll talk about. Might be to his detriment. Possibly. We'll get into that. So the two of them together can be Wonder Woman and Superman and be a real dynamic duo. So Dan says that he's shocked because she's playing it so good, and she says that she's excited and would have never thought it was him. Dan says that Phaedra is a real housewife who deals with backstabbing and scheming and stuff like that, but this game is very different. It's ruthless and cutthroat, and he doesn't know how much experience she has in playing a game like this. So he tells her that he thinks they will play very well together because no one will ever suspect them. He thinks that they could do it very well together, but they will need some help. They go over some options for recruiting. He brings up John as an option. They both agree no because he's too loud. Ekin-Su is also not an option because she feels her brain is on vibrate. Yeah, I mean, from these 3 episodes, I would agree that's kind of Ekin-Su. Not really thinking, more just like doing. Which makes sense why she doesn't like Janelle because they're very similar. So she brings up Sandra. He says that she's a stone cold killer that is very dangerous, and she agrees she's extremely good, and she's been watching her. He brings up Parvati as an option, and she says that she's hot already with Larsa calling her out. He says it may not be a bad thing since they are under the radar. She's a little bit more outspoken and can be a shield for them. She then brings up Janelle, says that she's a good game player. He agrees with her going right after that shield, and he says he's played with Janelle, and though she is tough, she's also loyal and would do a great job as a traitor. She brings up Larsa, saying she likes her, knows she's a hard worker, but that couple with her and Marcus need to be broken up. So, yeah, I mean, you can immediately tell that's going to be an issue. So it's between Larsa, Parvati, Sandra, and Janelle. He thinks they can help them all get to the end of the game. One thing I will say immediately, there is so quickly just such a different vibe from the Traitors last season. Like the Traitors last season, you had Christian just always want to be in charge, always want to call the shots, and Shereé just kind of agreeing, Cody not agreeing most of the time. But this time around, you have Dan and Phaedra, who are both like very strategically sound. They're both very careful with like their decisions, and it's just it's a very different dynamic, and I really like it. It's a lot more exciting to watch.
It really is. Like the only one who was actually good was Shereé. This one, they're actually both amazing, even though
so far,
Dan's on the best spot right now. But I mean, I think he can come back.
I think traitor-wise, he's doing good. He's just, there's some other things that I worry about.
He just needs to work on his social game more.
Yeah. So they decide on a choice and then send a recruitment note. Dan says that the huge risk isn't recruiting this person, isn't that they might not accept. They might not accept it because he knows they will. What the risk is what they will do once again in the turret with them, because he's not sure at the end of the day if he can fully trust this person. So Alan then walks in, asks if they made their decision. They say they have. They hand him the note, and they're told their final member will join them tomorrow night. They will each find out their identities tomorrow evening. However, their work is not done yet, as they must also decide who to murder. We do not get to see their decision or who they've chosen before the episode ends, and that's the end of episode 1. Very good cliffhanger. This show
Really
knows how to do cliffhangers very well, and my God, this season, I think they perfected that even more so than season 1.
Amazing.
Just really great cliffhanger. We're going to talk about episode 2. Before we do, I'm going to get some water because my voice is kind of shot. So
oh no.
while I do
maybe
that,
that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. You're going to take a little break from episode 2.
Yeah. So while we do that, you go ahead and talk to our amazing viewers.
All right. Well, right now there's no one watching at the moment, but I mean, hopefully we get some more viewers soon, or hopefully you guys are enjoying this. I love doing this show. I'm so excited to talk about episode 2 and 3, and this season is off to an incredible start, and I just cannot wait. And I'm so happy it's weekly, because I know obviously we binged season 1 and did our season review, but this one is not meant for just a season review. It's too good so far. It deserves weekly episodes. And I mean, obviously just the first 3 were together, and then everything else are going to be weekly, which I cannot wait. And right now it's the one thing we're actually doing for podcasts mainly. And then until some other shows start and everything. And then but this is the main thing we're doing weekly right now, which is amazing. And but it's also good so we can catch up on movies and shows as well. Non-reality and movies. But I'm just having such a great time doing this so far.
All right.
Right.
So the one thing I will say before we get into episode 2 is episode 1 was already off to a great start. Episode 2 confirmed, this is going to be a fucking great season. Episode 2 confirmed that. So go right ahead.
All right. So it is revealed that after deliberation, Parvati has been recruited to join the Traitors. Woo!
Yes.
She, of course, accepts. She's very excited to be one of the people who has power.
Can we just talk about this? Literally Dan and Parvati as traitors, that is insane to me. And the fact that we get to see both of them working side by side, it's it literally feels like a fan fiction. It doesn't, literally. It feels like a brand steal. That's literally
it doesn't feel real.
And it's so good.
It's just, I'm so here for it, and I'm so happy. And the only thing that make it better is just bringing in Sandra, because I mean, oh my God. But these 3 being traitors though is just top tier.
With part of there, I think it's definitely a possibility. If they stick to last season's format and one of them goes, which please don't. I don't want any of them to go. I love all of them so much.
No. They have to make it far.
But in the event that they do, I mean, she has to recruit Sandra. I see that happening. That's gonna happen.
I can see it, and I think she kind of has to in a way.
Especially considering, I think she says later on in the episode, she thought Sandra was one of the traitors. So I think that she'd probably do her a solid.
Yeah, definitely. So after recruiting Dan and Phaedra then discuss who they'll be murdering tonight. Dan says this is why he came to play Traitors. He didn't want to be a faithful and be all kumbaya and work as a team. He wanted to operate in the shadows. And this is where he does his best work.
Yes. And I think this is the thing that Dan does the best. He's the silent, kind of like a silent killer. Nobody really suspects him, and he does it really well. I think what he doesn't do as great with is a social game, but I think this part of Dan, top tier. He's still, he still got it.
Yeah, he just needs to work his social game more, because I think he can come back from this. I don't think it's gonna really hurt him, because since he is a good talker, I think he can come back.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk more about it, but
Dan says to Phaedra they need to pick someone that would cause confusion and brings up Kevin as an option. Wow, he's targeting you.
I know. What the hell, Dan? Oh, after all the praise I just gave you. Oh,
honestly,
you're doing so well.
Honestly, if Dan wanted to target me,
I'd just say thank you. I'd say thank you.
Same. I would be so honored if an icon wanted to target me.
I got targeted by Dan Gheesling? Oh my God. Let's go.
She says she really likes him and he seems like a good guy, and he says that's exactly why they need to go for him, because he hasn't done anything to anyone, so everyone will be shocked when he's not at the breakfast.
And this is why I really think Kevin is probably gonna go soon. He's just, again, he's just a nice guy. Nobody's gonna suspect him. No, he's
Mhm.
so unassuming in that way. It's like it's very easy to just like murder him.
Exactly.
So I don't think Kevin's going to be here much longer.
I don't think so either. Dan says Phaedra is a real housewife, so she's used to backstabbing and lying, but this game is very different, and as they're talking, he notices he can push a little bit and get his agenda done. So his ideas are the ones being executed.
Yeah, he's very much in the driver's seat, like strategically,
Yeah.
and I feel like Phaedra's like intentionally doing that. Like she's trying to
Mhm.
not push her agenda as much because she kind of wants to focus more on the
Yeah.
social aspect, while he's way
Mhm.
more focused on like the strategic aspect. And that's why I think
Yeah.
Phaedra right now is doing a better job than Dan, but I do think Dan's doing a very good job and like again, just doing what Dan does best, you know?
Yeah, like Phaedra's just trying to like listen and just
Mhm.
like be all
Yeah,
ears, which is working for her.
which is what Shereé did so well last season.
Yep.
Oh. I don't know if she
Exactly.
watched season 1, but it feels like she has because she's playing very similar to her so far.
I know, she really is. He then throws bananas to her, thinking he's someone that may have the ability to catch onto them. She says he is a wild horse, but he's also someone that is helping them win the missions, so they may not want to take out someone that's super strong and going to help them win the money.
Yeah.
Phaedra says she's never played this type of game, and Dan understands exactly what he's placed here to do. He's won Big Brother twice. Well, he should have.
Yeah, he should have.
This
I
is
mean, I love Ian, but like, yeah, he definitely should have.
true. This is his playground. He understands strategy and deception.
Yeah.
He then brings up Peppermint to her as an option, and Phaedra thinks that could be interesting since she is a human encyclopedia for reality stars and knows a lot of their resumes, and he thinks at some point she will be onto him. So they may need to go for her. She says no matter what happens, she trusts his judgment and thinks they will be a dynamic duo.
Mm-hmm.
So they then sign the death warrant of their first victim.
Yep.
Phaedra thinks this murder will shock everyone and people will really be upset, but at the end of the day, someone has to die. Which
Yeah, I really didn't know who was going to be here. Like, there's a lot of different
I
options they
know.
tossed out.
Yeah, literally. Dan says he's been waiting for this moment. He gets to control who goes home in this game and also gets to have a lot of fun hiding in the shadows. He has no remorse for murdering people because they signed up to get slaughtered and he signed up to slaughter every one of them, which we stan.
Yeah, Dan remorse, that's not something that I would expect.
Honestly, stan Dan.
Always.
If you don't, what are you doing?
Yeah. Why are you watching? Honestly?
Right? You gotta love him.
Stan
Like,
Dan,
he
Stan
seems
Phaedra,
like a really
Stan
nice
Lee.
guy, but he's also very cutthroat and ruthless.
Oh yeah. And that's why that's why he's so good, because he's still like he's really good at just being that nice guy, but he's also very cutthroat, and he's playing with a cast that
Yep.
doesn't really know how he plays, and I think that is going to benefit him.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that do are the traitors. Like, those are the people that know how he plays. So like,
Oh yeah.
you know.
So it's the next morning and everyone comes in one by one at breakfast. The first 4 to come out alive are Deontay, Ekin-Su, Peter, and Dan.
Yep.
Ekin-Su says coming into breakfast, she's so relieved she's still here, but she's also starving and mostly is focusing on the smoked salmon. Honestly,
I feel like all her confessionals are going to be like gold.
why do I feel like that's just a mood though? Like just coming in for the food, honestly.
Honestly, yeah. Give me that smoked salmon.
Just give me all the food. Peter says he doesn't think anyone has any idea of how strategic he could be, but he'll be looking out for everyone's reactions as people walk in and hope people will start to slip up and truths will be revealed and they can all find out who the traitors are.
I will say, out of the like nice guys, I think Peter's probably doing the best. Like, he definitely has like the best like strategic mind out of all of them, but I still feel like he's like very easy to kill at breakfast, but we'll see.
I think so too. Yeah, he's definitely like an easy one to go for because he is just very low key. Like, he has like a silent killer kind of vibe too.
Mm-hmm.
And then Janelle, Larsa,
and all it takes is for him to say the wrong thing, and you know, he's out.
Janelle, Larsa, and John come out next. John says he's elated to still be in the game and is ready to drink some good old English breakfast tea, some buttered toast, but above all is thirsting to discover who doesn't turn up.
It's like the most like British confessional ever. I love it.
Just gonna give me some tea.
Yeah. Give me some nice English tea. And some butcher.
Larsa says this is already getting stressful, and she literally couldn't sleep all night.
Yep. Welcome to the Traitors.
Dan says he has to be honest. This to him is fun. He's just being himself, doing his best to blend in with everyone else, and they have no clue.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume Dan will be having fun with this.
The next to come in are Phaedra and Bergie. Phaedra says entering the breakfast room with her being a murderer, she's just glad no blood is dripping off her fingertips. She's very under the radar, but she is a lawyer, which means she keeps deadly secrets all the time. So this is sort of par of the course for her.
Yeah, I mean that's the one thing that I think is gonna pay off dividends for Phaedra, is that she is a lawyer, and I don't think that's a thing a lot of people know about. And I think that's gonna help her a lot, because she's able to like really make these like strategic decisions, and she's able to like really think deeply about things. So she has this side of herself that she just hasn't really gotten to show in reality TV, and she finally gets to showcase that here. And I already feel like the fact they're emphasizing on, I see her as the winner. I really see her as the winner of this season.
Oh, I can too, honestly, and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Deontay asks the group if there are any traitors amongst them now, and Janelle says there has to be at least a traitor in this group, and Peter agrees, at least one, but if not, maybe two. Phaedra says it makes all of their hearts race.
Yep.
The next to come in are CT, Trishelle, and Shereé. Trishelle says she's alive and she's very happy because she was so worried that she was going to be murdered because she had a little thing with Peppermint, and now she has to address the elephant in the room.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, she doesn't have to, but sure.
Yeah, like this really pissed me off. It's like, you really don't have to talk about this. Like, I don't understand why this is the one thing that's like, just like because here's the thing. Like, Peppermint, yes, Peppermint is not even alive yet. Like, that's the thing. Like, we don't actually know if Peppermint is coming back. So, like, you actually don't need to address this. Like, this isn't necessary. Wait until, like, Peppermint's out, then you can talk to her about it. But before Peppermint's there, completely unnecessary. Like, I did not understand her reasoning for this at all.
Oh, no, it was just really stupid and really, like, uncalled for.
Yeah. And a bit microaggressive too, not gonna lie.
Yep. Trishelle tells everyone before they went to bed last night they were sitting with Peppermint, and the joke that failed that caused her to become very upset. Ekin-Su says that when she walks in, she needs to just watch her and see how she is, and Dan says he'll keep an eye out.
And I'll keep an eye out for the water I just spilled on my laptop.
Oh no!
It's just water, it's fine.
Yeah. The next group to enter consists of Parvati, Max, and Marcus. Parvati is losing her mind walking into breakfast as a traitor. Everything is different, and it's really throwing her for a loop. It feels like shifting sands beneath her feet, and she's trying very hard to find some solid ground.
Yeah, and I love the fact that, like, she doesn't get to know who the traitors are. It makes this so much more, like, exciting.
She feels everyone is looking at her. She's going straight from being recruited to being thrown into the wolves at breakfast.
Yep. She has no time to process it.
Trishelle asks her if she was a little nervous last night, and Parvati says she was dead scared.
Yep.
Deontay wants to know who got recruited. And then Ekin-Su asks them if they were a traitor, who they'd recruit and why. And Peter says he thinks it would be someone that no one would expect.
Yep.
So the next group consists of Sandra, Tamra, and MJ. Tandra says coming into breakfast, she's looking around the room and everybody freaking looks guilty. Every single person looks like a traitor to her. It's so funny.
She's just like, she's throwing out everybody's name.
She's funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I like Tamra a lot so far.
Oh yeah. Parvati is so curious to who the other traitors are. She feels like Sandra has to be one of them, as she knows her from Survivor and can read people pretty well. So Phaedra asks who's left, and it's down to Bananas, Peppermint, and Kevin.
Yeah, which again, like, this is Trishelle. You don't have to talk about Peppermint here.
Trishelle feels there's no world where Bananas wouldn't come back, and feels Kevin is gone, and that there's no way it would be Peppermint because she is a traitor.
Sure.
The next person to walk out is Kevin, who they are all shocked to see is alive and well. Peppermint also comes out, which means Bananas has been murdered, and everyone is in total disbelief.
Yep.
We flash back to Dan and Phaedra deliberating over their choices, and ultimately they decided on bananas based on how strong of a message it will send.
And it makes sense. He definitely
Yeah.
had like the least amount of content in like the first episodes. Like I wasn't
Yeah.
surprised to see him murdered here.
Yeah, he didn't really have a lot. Like, it's sad because he is very entertaining, but
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
He's also literally on like every reality show. So like he had to eventually be first boot.
He like always makes it far, so I mean, it's good that he left.
Yeah. Yeah, he probably would have gone really far if not. So
I also need to scroll back down because I accidentally went all the way back to the beginning.
oh, you're on Bananas reads his letter.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. Bananas reads his letter that he has been murdered. He says it stings and not to toot his own horn, but the house is going to be a lot less fun now that he isn't around. He says they definitely made a mistake, and this game is like a jar of jalapenos. What you do today, it's going to burn your ass tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what do you want to say about Bananas before we move on here?
I mean, he is very entertaining to watch. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like the funny guy, such a clown, very unserious. But I mean,
definitely a bit of a douche, but you know.
Yeah, he's definitely a douche. But I mean, he does own it at least, which is good. But like, yeah, he's someone who could have made it far because he could definitely like win shields because he's so good at challenges. And like, yeah, I think it makes sense.
I think this is absolutely the best choice. I think, you know, no one would have suspected Bananas. There's nobody within Dan, Phaedra, or Parvati where it's like it's super obvious that like it was Bananas. Like I think this was definitely the right choice. It's like you want to pick someone that like isn't gonna seem obvious, and I think he's probably the best possible choice for that. So yeah, I think this makes sense. And I think not going for Peppermint early would have made it so it's like, okay, we know she's not a traitor. This kind of keeps that going and keeps the heat off of them. Nobody thought Bananas was a traitor, so this is like kind of perfect.
Oh, for sure. Trishelle is shocked that he's gone, and CT jokingly says he guesses this means he's next. That was funny. CT says that Bananas is being eliminated so early doesn't sit well with him because it means he could potentially be out next, and anyone who's ever watched the challenge knows he and Bananas are arguably the best to ever do it.
I don't know if that's the case when you have Parvati and Dan and Sandra on the cast, but go off.
Yeah, sure. Go off, King. Peppermint says Bananas was obviously very loud and good in challenges, but he's also someone who can't easily be controlled. And Marcus and Larsa say she has said it like she's a true traitor.
Yeah, Marcus and Larsa are very much jumping on the bandwagon of like Peppermint's a traitor, and yeah, it's not looking great for her.
No. Deontay then asks her to clarify the situation with Trishelle. Peppermint asks what situation they had, and Trishelle brings it up again and doubles down on the fact that it was all just a joke. She gets up and says that if she gets murdered, it may be by her looks, but it won't be because she's a traitor.
Yeah, and this is the moment where Trishelle should realize, okay, she doesn't think much of it. Like, we're just not going to continue to harp on this. Like, if Peppermint is not bothered by this, what is the problem? Like, I don't understand what the issue is here. Peppermint is literally just being sassy. Like, that's literally all she's doing right now. She's just being
literally
like, sassy, like, you know, what you'd expect from like a drag queen and things like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really understand what the issue is here. I feel like she just kind of plays it off as like, I don't know what you're talking about. This is ridiculous. Let's move on. Just kind of like says some like funny shit. And I don't understand why Trishelle just kept harping on it. I generally just don't think Trishelle understands that she was just joking. Like, and it was pretty obvious to me. I think
Trishelle is such a bad player too already.
Yeah. I think she's just very ignorant. I think she doesn't understand people who doesn't react to things the way that she's
honestly, like I don't know. I feel like they could keep her around for a while just because she's not really a threat.
Yeah, unfortunately, I do too. I think she handles herself well after this episode, but she plays really badly in this episode.
Oh yeah, Peppermint.
Like her best, like I said, her best bet would have been to just like fuck off with this narrative and actually try to work with Peppermint. But she just continues to push it, which is stupid.
Peppermint feels this is some bullshit, which it is.
Yeah, very much.
Alan comes out and greets them, and he says that breakfast is the most important, and because it signals that they're alive. But what's not on the breakfast menu is bananas, which is pretty funny.
I love his puns for breakfast. It's so
Oh,
good.
good. Oh, he's great.
Yeah, he just knows how to like make it so like exciting.
Oh yeah. He says the Faithfuls will soon have a chance to strike back at tonight's roundtable. There they will banish from the game forever the player they suspect of being a traitor, but they won't have their wits about them as last night. The traitors, in addition to murdering bananas, have also recruited someone to join their pack. But first, they will have a mission to complete. He tells them to split into 3 groups, and he'll meet them outside shortly.
Yep.
Parvati pulls Peter aside and asks him who he really trusts, and he says he doesn't really trust anybody. Janelle tells Larsa that everyone is saying Peppermint now.
Yeah, which, thank you, Trishelle.
Yeah, great. Oh god, I keep on scrolling down.
This is why you use your laptop.
I mean, I was using my laptop, but it kept on like being all weird, like the dock. So I'm like, I'm just gonna use my phone.
Get Allie a tablet challenge.
No, I like my computer.
Yeah, this is also why this very much rubs me the wrong way, DM Rocks, because I've also heard about this. Like, this is the other thing. It's like, I feel like even if Peppermint comes, like, even with Peppermint, like not being too like defensive about it or anything, like Trishelle was still gonna push it just because of like, yeah,
definitely.
So it doesn't seem surprising. Like, I saw a lot of people.
Trishelle is very problematic.
Yeah, I saw a lot of tweets about her and her just like being very like racist towards specifically women of color, and so like this is not too shocking to hear about it all. It's very unfortunate, but you know.
Yeah, very unfortunate. Dan pulls Parvati aside.
That's all that matters. Hopefully she doesn't.
I don't think she will. Dan pulls Parvati aside and says he wants to ask her a couple of things, and he asks if anyone hasn't said anything to her about him, and she asks if he's heard anything, and he says no, he just wants to make sure just in case, and she asks if he's a traitor, and he says no, and she says she thinks there's like 3 or 4, and he says he doesn't even think there is that many, and reminds him that they recruited, and he asks if she feels good about him, and she says yes.
And I love the way that Dan handles this. It's like, okay, how do I find a way to take the person I just recruited under my wing and they don't even realize it? Like, I thought he did this so well. It's like he already has Parv's trust. He knows that she's not going to go against him. And it was such a good way of like seeing like, where is her head at? Like, if I'm not a traitor, does she suspect that I'm a traitor? Am I on her radar at all? Like, I thought this was just so brilliant from Dan. This was such a good.
Oh, it's so good. And like, I'm so here for Dan and Parv being a duo.
Oh my
like,
God, yes.
They are so good, and I can see them being a dynamic duo for sure. And also the reason why I'm using my phone is because I can put it on this thing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Which is like a great way to read. It's a good way to read docs.
And I will say, Parvati is an amazing trader so far. Like I think she, like, regardless of what happens to Dan, we'll talk about that. She's going. She's. I feel like
next to Phaedra, Parv is probably in this next best spot.
Yes, like she was born for this game.
Oh yeah, for sure. Dan says he's been watching their new recruit with an eagle eye. It gives him insight into how they're going to be as a traitor. CT talks with Peppermint and Marcus, and he asks Peppermint if she thinks people are suspecting her harder than others, and she says if they weren't, they must be now.
Yeah.
But it was turned into something much bigger than it was, because it really was just a weird comment that meant nothing to her. And Marcus says that breakfast room is dangerous because if one thing is thrown out there by someone, well, everyone is there, and it can become the driving narrative. And Peppermint brings up how Trishelle says if she was killed, it would mean she was a traitor, but she's still sitting at the table, not even dead, so she doesn't know what she's talking about.
Exactly. Like, literally, if Trishelle was murdered, this would be an entirely different discussion, but Trishelle is still alive and well. Peppermint was murdered. Why are we still harping on this? Like, this, it was literally so stupid. It was so stupid.
Dumb. I hate it. Like, Peppermint seems so fun and nice.
Yeah, like, I generally think she, aside from one thing, she handles this as well as she possibly could have. Like, I think there are way worse ways to have handled this. She could have easily like just said like, I want Trishelle out. I think she's a traitor, but like she doesn't even do that. She just says like, no, this was just like a stupid banter. Like that's all this was. Like, why are we making a bigger deal out of this?
Yeah. Peppermint says she's not a pro at this and has obviously never done anything like this before. And so she's learning as she goes, but she guesses she better figure it out soon because she doesn't want to get banished.
Yeah.
After she leaves, CT and Marcus are really skeptical of her and with how defensive she gets every time she's called out. You know what? She's just sticking up for herself.
Yeah, literally. Like it's like I get it. Like the problem is like once like Marcus is right. Like once that narrative is out there, it's very hard to shut it down. And that's why like I fully blame Trishelle for this. Like if she had not said a fucking thing at breakfast, this would have never even come up the rest of the day.
Peter talks to Kevin, Tamra, Parvati, and Sandra about what they're all thinking for a banishment. Tamra says her intuition is telling her that John is a traitor because he never trusts a politician. And they all laugh, but think that can be a legit reasoning. And Peter asks if they
honestly pretty bold statement in an election year.
I know. Peter asked if they heard him breathing at the round table while Alan was going around. Sandra thinks he was for sure tapped by Alan and couldn't contain himself, and it was an involuntary response. Peter says he's curious to see if there's any noticeable behavior for anyone now that they've been recruited. Parvati thinks it's really hard to tell who's lying right now.
And I will say, in my opinion, as much as I love John, he should have gone this episode. Like 100%.
I know.
On here, this narrative makes far more sense than the one with Peppermint. It's like
John could go at a breakfast too, or he can just go at round table.
We'll see. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think there's any incentive to getting rid of John at breakfast because you have Tamra, who's still never going to trust him. So
yep. Sandra says her and Parvati have history, and it's not great history, so she really needs to see and get a feel for where she's at if she gets the sense she's a traitor, and she will grab all the faithfuls and take her out because she's here to get to the end.
Yep.
It's time for the next mission. Alan tells everyone first impressions count, and no more so than in today's mission. It's deceptively simple. All they have to do is get to his field of gold as fast as they can. $20,000 worth of gold is in that field. To get there, each group must follow a separate path, along with which they'll discover questions and locked boxes. The questions are about their opinions on their fellow players, and the answers are based on questionnaires he asked them to complete earlier. Along the way, they'll also meet a number of his Scarecrow friends. They will represent the possible answers, simply pick up the Scarecrow they think is the correct answer, and carry it until they reach the next question box.
Yep.
If their answer is correct, that Scarecrow will unlock the next question and they'll proceed along the path. Time is of the essence. The quicker everyone gets to the field of gold, the greater chance they'll have of banking some big bucks. The field holds more than just gold. There will also be 3 shields hidden amongst it, and whoever finds one will be protected from tonight's murder.
Yeah, I really like this challenge a lot. I thought it was really... It was kind of like the touchy subjects one last season where questions about everyone. They did it pretty early here, but I really like this a lot.
Oh, I thought it was like really fun to watch, and it was pretty spicy too, and it was great. Like so far,
it ends up playing a pretty major role in terms of like who gets murdered. So
oh yeah, for sure. Dan says the great thing about this mission is the faithful are telling them all exactly what they think about everyone.
Yep.
During this mission, Phaedra notices Marcus is very influential, which may be something for the traitors to have in their treasure chest when it comes to the turret.
Yeah, he's in a really dominant position right now.
Oh, he really is. There is a moment where Tamra asks John if he has an inhaler on him as a test to see if he really is asthmatic, and he says he doesn't, which makes her more suspicious.
I love the moment where she's like, wait, are you running? And he's like, I never really, like, I'm like, I think he was like, I never run this fast before or something. Like, that was great.
It's just so good. Like this rivalry is just like, it's like so entertaining, but it's so like petty.
Yeah, like this is the kind of stuff I like. Peppermint and Trishelle, no, I don't like that. This I like. This is exciting.
Yeah. This is fun. This is very exciting. During the challenge, one of the questions that comes up is who the more quieter player is between Dan and Shereé, and everyone selects Dan, which has Phaedra nervous that his introverted nature may not work for this game.
Yeah.
However, Dan seems fine with this because his whole plan is only to speak when spoken to and keep a very low profile. He is hoping he doesn't have to change up how he is playing the game completely.
And this is probably the area where I think Dan is going to struggle the most. Something he did very well in both his seasons of Big Brother is like stay out of the chaos, stay out of the line of fire. You know, I'm sure something immediately people think of is like the Keisha's birthday fight. Dan is literally in the other room, just like chilling on the couch. Like he's not really, you know, he's just like praying or whatever. Like he's not focused on the fighting. He's not a confrontational person. He's never going to be. That's just who Dan is.
Yeah, he's just a very quiet person, very like shy.
And that's great, but the problem is with the Traitors, and especially this cast, which I think is pretty great on their part, is they're realizing like, if you're too quiet, that's suspicious, and you're not giving any information. If you're not giving any information to the faithfuls, they're going to assume that you're a traitor. So I think he really does kind of need to change things up, and it's really going to come down to, is he capable of doing so? Is Dan able to
can. I don't know. I think he can, because he's like a really good speaker. So I feel like he can. He just has to like have some more conversations with certain people and then go from there.
I think he's very focused on the one-on-ones, which is great in like Big Brother. And it is definitely with him and Parvati, it works really well. But you don't really get a lot of time in the Traitors for one-on-ones. It's a lot of like group conversations. And I don't think he's the best in those. And I think he needs to kind of like adjust to the format a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he's really only, because here's the thing, like he's literally only played Big Brother. He hasn't played other reality shows, where like there are people here like, you know, that have played other reality shows that aren't just Big Brother or Survivor. And I think that's an area where Dan's kind of struggling right now. So we'll see. I hope he can adjust.
I hope so, because I don't want him to go this early.
God, no.
He needs to make it to at least before the finale.
Once he's not first boot, like a lot of people were suspecting he would have been, it's only smooth sailing from here.
Yes. So he decides to go for the shield to drive home the fact that he is a faithful. While searching through a scarecrow, a shield falls on the ground and he is able to acquire it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really smart strategy. It's like, okay, I'm in danger. I'm worried I'm going to be murdered. So I'm a faithful. Like, that's a really good way of kind of like taking the target off yourself. People just immediately will think, okay, he's a faithful. And I think this was a good strategy.
Oh, definitely.
Like, again, strategy-wise, top tier. Social-wise, I worry for him.
Yeah, he just needs to work on that. And then if he works on that, then he's solid.
Oh, yeah.
He wants to create a double bluff that he grabbed that shield thinking he's unsafe and therefore can't be a traitor. Janelle wants to take the opportunity to go for the shield again. However, she isn't able to get it this time.
The only time she's not able to in the 3 episodes.
I know. After many revealing questions and searching through scarecrows, the players are able to bank 8 gold bars, adding an extra 16k to their prize pot. However, they could have banked a full 20k, but many of them decided to prioritize their lives, searching for a shield instead. And since Dan was able to find the shield, he is safe from murder, although he already was.
Yeah, he literally already, which I think is really funny that like Dan got the shield even though he already was safe. But again, good strategy. Like people aren't going to suspect it. So
definitely. Peppermint says she is apparently the most popular, but her being popular with a bunch of snakes and the Traitors, it's unclear how far the popularity will get her tonight.
Yep.
Max jokingly says he feels a little lumberjacky. That was pretty funny.
That was a funny moment.
Dan talks to Parvati about after the challenge and asks her if there's going to be any curveballs and the round table, and she says there might, and he says people feel really good about her because they have to trust somebody, and he says if she hears anything to let him know.
And again, just such great strategy from Dan here, like really just getting Parvati on his side, making sure that like, you know, she can trust him, like he's with her. Like this is just really good how he's able to get her.
Oh, for sure. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Dan says Parvati has no clue he's a traitor, but she's also known as a Black Widow who spins a web, and this mission really exposed him in a couple ways. So she's someone who can help get the faithfuls off his tail.
Yep.
MJ talks to Tamra, Sandra, and Parvati, saying it looks like it's going to be between Peppermint and John for the vote tonight. And Tamra brings up how she asked him today, and as she's saying it, John walks up to them and they pass it off as her having a cold. It gets all awkward and silent, and then Parvati breaks it by complimenting John on how fast he runs. And he says he fell over, and Tamra says he still has a bit of mud on his face.
That was such a funny conversation when they were talking about John not breathing well, and she's like, well, I think I'm getting a cold.
This is so funny. Tamra says she doesn't think John can be trusted because good things are never really heard about politics since they are professional liars, and something in her gut is telling her John's a traitor.
Yeah, I mean, she's not wrong. Like, don't trust politics.
Honestly. Deontay talks to Peppermint about how she's feeling, and she says she knows her name is honestly going around, and she's confused about the situation, and she doesn't like being accused of things she didn't do, and if Trishelle is really concerned about not banishing a traitor, and she then corrects herself and says faithful. That was not the best move from her.
Yeah, this was probably the worst thing she could have done. It's like, I know people slip up. I've done it before, but like, you really got to be careful of what you say. And I feel like Peppermint was saying literally all the right things at this point. This was like the one thing she needed to not say, and she did, and it just really hurt her. So, I don't know what happened to Allie, but she disappeared. But yeah, just not great for Peppermint at all. Oh, also I
was just reloading my streamer because the Wi-Fi thing was showing up. I'm just like, okay, let's see.
I see King Austin Huff is watching, so hello.
Hello, King.
Yes.
We love him.
Yes, we do.
All right. But yeah, love Peppermint so much, but yeah, that was definitely not the best from her. Like, she definitely handled it as best as she could. Yeah. But I mean, that was definitely her slip up that definitely kind of screwed her.
Yeah, it's really just like rubbing salt into the wound at that point. It's like, again, I think everything else she did was fine. This really fucked her.
Yeah. So Larsa calls her out on the fact that she keeps doing this, and she has now thrown herself under the bus again.
Yeah, and this part, like, I don't blame Larsa for, like, accusing her of, because it's like, you literally just said you were a traitor. Like, you literally just said that. So what am I supposed to think now?
I will say, though, I don't like that Larsa, like, sides with Trishelle.
Oh, no, I don't like that. But this I understand. I don't like what she does later.
Oh, no, yeah. Like, later on, I just do not like what she does. Like, that's the part, like, later on that really just made me not like Larsa that much at all.
No, not a fan.
And like, like her and Trishelle are the only ones I don't really like that much.
She's very like shrill. I just don't like her.
Same.
She gives like mean girl vibes.
Like she's like sometimes like bitchy can be fun to watch, but
like an Ekin-Su.
Yeah, like this is the kind of bitchy, but Larsa's like the bitchy, like mean girl type.
Yeah, I just not a fan.
Like very catty and is jealous of other women.
Yeah, not a fan.
Peppermint says somehow the word traitor came out by mistake. It was a slip up find her a human being that hasn't accidentally said the opposite of what they meant to say. She was tongue tied, and now she'll have to go and have the doctor check out her tongue.
And she's not wrong. Like, you slip up sometimes, but like this was like the worst thing she could have said.
Trishelle talks to Max about Peppermint, and he feels it's a non-story. And she
exactly.
Yep. I will say we love Max sticking up for Peppermint.
Yes.
And he asks if he thought it was suspicious, and he says he doesn't think so because it was all out of nowhere, and the traitors by now will decide what the game plan is, and they are clearly trying to pit both her and Peppermint against each other. So for him, it's a little suspect.
Yeah, I mean, I side with Max here. It's like, this is stupid. Same. This is a distraction. Why are we focusing on this so much?
It's all Trishelle's fault.
Yes.
Peppermint talks to some of them about how Trishelle is irresponsibly floating someone's name, and she doesn't like being accused of something she hasn't done. Shereé talks about how they all agreed what happened between her and Trishelle was a playful conversation.
We love Shereé also standing up for her.
Yes. What a queen, honestly.
Yes.
I feel like Shereé kind of gives like Dark Horse vibes.
I could see that.
Yeah. Like I can see her making it pretty far.
Yeah.
but like
Well,
maybe not to the
especially
end.
since we know it seems like her and Phaedra. Well, obviously Phaedra's going to be close to like the majority of the housewives, but it seems
Yeah.
like Shereé's the one where it's like you don't go for her, she's untouchable. Like I think that's bodes very well for Shereé.
Shereé seems like such a queen.
Oh yeah.
Shereé says she isn't buying anything Trishelle is saying, and she doesn't get traitor vibes from Peppermint.
Yes.
Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into the round table, it is a pretty spicy one.
Yeah, I mean, not as spicy as the next one, but yes.
Oh god, yeah. The next one is top tier, but this is still a good one.
Oh yeah.
Peppermint says she knows her name has been circulated and it doesn't feel good, but the book isn't closed on her just yet.
Yeah.
Trishelle says she's convinced Peppermint is a traitor and she hopes they believe her, but then she's not sure how that weight she has in this game as far as believability for what she has to say.
Which again, if you're worried about that, why even spread this narrative? Like literally, you could have just like said nothing.
And then we get like another like very British confessional from John.
Oh my god, it's top tier. Like literally, John is just give me a compilation of all the things John says.
Please.
Gold, absolute gold.
Like he's the person we root for just for the memes, but he is very iconic.
Yes.
John is unsure if his name is up for banishment, but he is girding his loins ready for battle if necessary.
Oh, so good. I'm girding my loins.
So good. Oh, okay. Please just like, can we just have at the finale, like, or at the reunion, just have like a compilation of all of his lines?
Oh yeah, all his, all Ekin-Su's, all Phaedra's. There's a lot of good confessional people this season.
Oh yeah. Parvati says she needs to be on the right side of this vote and she wants to vote with the numbers. But she doesn't want to banish one of the other traitors, so she's feeling nervous about that.
Yep.
Alan comes out and they then start the round table.
Yeah, and you could tell just from moment one of this roundtable, this is going to be a very different energy compared to last season when people were like pretty quiet with the roundtables. I think they really only started to pick up steam after the Michael round. This one, like right out the gate, we're cooking with gas.
Oh, literally. Peppermint immediately starts off by saying her name has been floated around. Trishelle and her were having conversation with others in the room. And then Trishelle then once again tries to implicate her as a traitor by saying she looked jolted after her joke and that she thought she had a nerve and figured it out.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
Ridiculous. This is so stupid. Peppermint says she doesn't remember having a reaction as dramatic, and she was saying she remembers it being very playful. And Ekin-Su asks who was there when this happened, and Shereé says she was sitting right there and heard what she said, and she didn't feel it was a big thing, and it was just a joking conversation.
Yeah, and again, I really like the way Shereé vouches for Peppermint here. I thought this was really good. And I think Peppermint, I will say, I think the one thing she really needed to say was like, if I'm really a traitor, Trishelle would not be here. I think she should have said that. She doesn't say that. I think that really could have helped her.
I know.
But, I mean, Trishelle
that could have gotten people to flip on her.
Yeah. I think Trishelle was just being so unnecessarily just like assertive towards her and just
very gross.
Really just trying to like plunge that knife into Peppermint. And it was not great.
Bring Peppermint back for second chances.
Oh my god, yes, please. Oh, she'd be so I feel like she was so robbed.
Oh, she was. Max says it's more suspicious to him that Peppermint's name got thrown out of nowhere, and now all of a sudden it's Peppermint with little to no evidence other than gossip and hearsay, and he doesn't find her to be a traitor, rather she just came off a little strange.
Literally, like this is just a distraction. Like what are we doing?
And going into this comment from DM Rocks.
Yeah.
Which I agree, like she wasn't even close to her.
Yeah, it was like this. Like it wasn't this. It was this. Like it was literally just she had her finger to make a point. I talk with my hands all the fucking time.
Yeah, literally. Like who cares?
So stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It also like
that was such a like microaggressive thing to say to her.
It gave me vibes of Alyssa and Big Brother 24, like calling out Joseph and like being like, "I'm speaking." Like that's what it gave me.
Alyssa thought she did something, but she didn't.
Trishelle also thought she did something and didn't. So,
yep.
And honestly, both kind of go out for similar reasons. Like Joseph goes out because people are tarnishing his name and saying things that he didn't say. And now Peppermint's going out because she said things that she didn't say. So Yeah,
She
they
then
both suck. They both suck.
they do suck.
Yeah.
She then asked
One,
Trishelle why
telling people, not great.
She then asked Trishelle why she would continue to have conversations about this today, especially what seems like continuously, and go to talk to everybody else in the room, except for her, and Trishelle tells her to be respectful to her, even though she's the one interrupting. And tells her not to put her hand in her face like that.
Yeah, no, literally, Trishelle is the one interrupting her here. Like, why are you saying be respectful? You're the one talking over her. Like, you literally just want the last word. Like, that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm. I do not like when people interrupt.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do it all the time, but yeah.
No.
Make a compilation of all the times I've accidentally interrupted you.
I mean, this is fine because we're doing a podcast and we're both giving our thoughts.
Yeah.
The whole room seemed astonished, and Pepper. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was wiping away a notification from Snap. The whole room seems astonished, and Peppermint says she could have just come up and talked to her because she knows she's a fucking faithful. So either she's a traitor and wants her name to go out there, which is what a traitor would do, or she's cavalier about watching another faithful go down. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying it's probably the same notification I just got.
Oh no, it was my coworker friend Taylin. I'll reply to her.
Okay.
I'll reply to her later.
Shout out.
Yeah. Because since she was just messaging me back, so I'll message her later. Larsa then brings up Peppermint's slip-up in the kitchen earlier, which everyone is shocked about, and Peppermint says she is not a traitor, and it was a slip-up, and Larsa asks if she implied it, and Peppermint says and she says that's all they need to know.
And I will say, unfortunately for Peppermint, I do think her defense here is really bad. She just keeps saying, I'm not a traitor. I'm not a traitor. I'm not a traitor. Like, I think she needed to say a little bit more. Again, I think she really just needed to drive the fact that, like, Trishelle's still here. If I was a traitor, she would have been gone. I would have made sure she was gone if that was the case. Like, she needed to say that. And I think if she did, this would have proven, Trishelle is just like talking out of her ass. This doesn't make any sense. Like, I think if she would have said that, the woman, like, I understand when you're under pressure, you don't say the right thing sometimes. But I think with Peppermint, I think she just needed to say a little bit more than she did. But I think at this point, she was just like really nervous and knew already that her name was being thrown out and was just really trying to like deflect it. I think she just needed a bit more deflection here. Like, she has Max and Shereé, but Max is not in a good position. So people aren't really going to like listen to what he says. And then Shereé also is not in this dominant position. So it's not really working out great for her.
Nope.
Like, she needed like Parvati like defending her. And
she did.
I think once Larsa was against her, like, that was it. Because Larsa's in a really good position right now.
Yeah, sadly, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't really like her, but yeah.
Marcus says to Peppermint that with the discrepancies today in her explanations, it just caused concern for him.
Yep.
Peppermint says someone will float a name and they will all just jump on it just because it's not there. The traitors are okay with this and they want them to look everywhere but at them.
Mm-hmm.
Parvati feels this is all just gossip and they have no real evidence.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Parvati's a real one for that.
As she should say that, honestly. So real. MJ also doesn't think Peppermint is a traitor. They all know that they're having conversations about what happened the first time.
And then we get probably the most exciting part of this round table.
Oh, this is so funny. Like, give me this Tamra and John rivalry some more.
Yeah.
Janelle, and also Janelle with him too.
Yeah. It's more Tamra, honestly. But yeah.
Janelle says she can talk about John's breathing again. It was the final time Alan did the lap and he was struggling to breathe. And John says it was simply just extreme intensity in the room. And he was pleased it was at an end. He's never breathed particularly well in his youth, and he was asthmatic then, but doesn't consider himself as asthmatic today. Tamra is now confused since he said yesterday he has asthma, and now it's saying he just had it as a child. And
yeah, this was really bad. Like, you're literally saying two completely different things here. Like,
I know. Like, he's like,
I was asthmatic, but now I'm not. But then yesterday was I am asthmatic. Like, which
he's contradicting himself.
Yeah.
He says that's absolutely true, and John says he doesn't reckon whether asthma is a lifelong condition. but he'll be absolutely honest that he doesn't exactly remember the words he used in response, and Tamra says he's answering it just like a politician, and he tells her to forgive him, but that is a term of abuse, and she says he isn't answering the question, and he says he may not answer it in the way he wanted, but he did answer it, and she says
the best part is when she's accusing him of being a politician. He's like, I find that to be abuse. Like I love that.
And she says he kind of just went around his elbow to get to his ass, and he says this is a spectacularly flimsy basis upon which to assert that someone is guilty of being a traitor, and she says it's just showing if he's lying or not.
I love how he phrases things, because you would think with the way that John is talking, like he's being accused of like something really serious, like he's like a politician and he's being accused of like treachery or something, but he's literally just being accused of breathing. Like that's literally all this is.
Literally, it's just like so petty, but so like
so
entertaining.
Like his responses are just so like professional. You feel like he's giving he's giving this speech to the crowd, trying to like impeach himself when it's literally just about him being asthmatic.
Literally.
Like just give me more of this. It's so good. Please. I love it.
Please, just keep them around.
Yeah.
Ellen tells them that the time for talking is now over and it's time to vote. Peppermint says she can't catch a read on whether her number is up or not, as people do not seem happy with John.
Yeah, and I was really hoping this was going to save Peppermint. I was like, okay, John just really did not handle that well, but we'll get into what happens.
John says this shouldn't be a game of name-calling or kindergarten behavior where one person says you're a baddie. This should be based on evidence, which I thought that was really funny.
It was so good.
He's just calling them all children.
I know. I mean, he's not wrong. He's literally the oldest person there. So
I know. Phaedra says you got people trying to make decisions based on speculation, so they jump to conclusions, but that happens in real life. Innocent people go to jail, guilty people get away with murder. It's all a treacherous world.
Fucking preach, yes.
Preach. Queen. She's so woke.
Oh, yeah.
It's time to read the votes. Bergie votes first, and he went with Peppermint because there's not a lot of evidence out there right now, and all he has to go off of is this morning at breakfast.
I keep forgetting Bergie's there, to be honest with you, but yeah.
I know, he's kind of irrelevant.
He really is. He has breakfast vibes like all over him.
Yeah. MJ votes next, and she went with John.
Yep.
Phaedra is up next, and she's unsure. She's grasping at straws like most people, but then she votes for Peppermint.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra and Peter vote next, and they both vote Peppermint. John is up next, and he says none of them have conclusive evidence, but that evidence they've acquired can't be ignored. So for that reason, he votes Peppermint. Janelle is up next, and she votes Peppermint because she's done so many suspicious things. Out of all these people, she is the most likely to be a traitor.
Which I thought was really surprising. I thought she was going to go John there, but it's Peppermint.
Yeah. Max is next, and he thinks there's a bit of a herd mentality going on, so he votes for John.
Because there is.
I mean, yeah. Larsa is next, and she votes Peppermint. Parvati is next, and she says she's going to feel really bad, but she votes for Peppermint.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kevin's next. He also votes for Peppermint. Peppermint is up next, and she says her name seems to have come out of what she views to be out of nowhere, and the person responsible for placing her name into their minds. So she ends up voting for Trishelle.
As she should, honestly.
Yes. Because, I mean, this is all her fault.
Yeah.
Trishelle is next, and she tells Peppermint if she's responsible for a herd mentality against her. She deeply, deeply apologizes, but that reaction was the only thing that pinged her out of everybody there. And if she's not a traitor, she's going to feel like absolute garbage. So she votes for Peppermint.
Yeah, and I did want to mention Trishelle has said she apologized to Peppermint. You literally apologized to her on Thursday, before the show aired. You could have apologized. They filmed this in August, I believe. You had so many months to apologize to her about it. It's what are you doing?
She literally could have apologized after they filmed.
Yeah, it's not like Peppermint said, don't talk to me or something like that. She absolutely could have, reached out and extended the hand, but it's clear she's literally just doing it because, people are going to perceive me in a bad way. I need to make myself look good. Fuck off. I'm so not.
Go away. Yeah, Trishelle sucks.
Yes.
Everyone calls her Trashelle.
As they should. As they should. She sucks.
Mm-hmm. Everyone else left also votes for Peppermint. Since Peppermint has received the most votes, she is banished from the game and it's now time for her to reveal to everyone if she is a faithful or a traitor. And she goes ahead and tells them she came into this game because she's a huge fan, but the bigger reason for her to come here, she's trying to put all of her energy and use her platform to advocate for the transgender community.
Yes.
She will keep being herself. That will never stop. But in this game, she thinks some of them have been led astray. And she is indeed a faithful.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate to see Peppermint go here. I really think she would have been a true force in this game.
I know.
I
she could have done so well if it weren't for Trishelle.
I also believe I lose my first draft pick here, so that's not great. Because I did draft Peppermint.
Who had Johnny Bananas again?
I don't remember. I'd have to look, but
I have to go back and look too.
I definitely drafted Peppermint because I remember I drafted the other drag queen in Canada, so I was like, I want the drag queen in this too. But no, Peppermint. I think honestly,
I remember we drafted for Canada too, and we're like, we didn't even watch it yet, but we will.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, Peppermint, honestly, I think had a real chance of going farther. I think really just Trishelle being there. I will say, I don't think she had the best answers at the round table. I think she really could have had a better defense. I think she really needed to push the fact that this was all just, a dumb little conversation. This isn't really that big of a deal. Trishelle is trying to make it a bigger deal. This is the behavior of a traitor. I think she really just needed to throw that out. Like, you guys don't understand, like, Trishelle is a traitor. Like, I think if she was going to vote for Trishelle especially, she really needed to do that and didn't. I think that was really her biggest mistake here. But other than that, I mean, she was just unfairly implicated here. It's one of those instances where, like, someone gets traction on somebody, it's very hard to let go of it. As much as I do praise, like, Max and Shereé for, like, sticking up for her, I do think they probably should have just voted Peppermint since everyone else was. It probably would have just been the right thing to do. Just because, like, especially for Max, spoilers, it doesn't really turn out well for him. We'll get into that. But yeah, I mean, it really sucks to see her go. She seems like such a fun personality. I really enjoyed what we got to see of her.
Honestly, like,
it does suck.
If she stuck around, I feel like her, Shereé, and like Max would have teamed up.
Yeah. Well, I also saw this statistic on Twitter that's like really sad. There's only been, I believe, like 4 transgender people in reality competition shows, and all of them have been early boots. You had like Julie Vu in Canada was like first boot. Obviously, Audrey and 17 didn't make it very far. And then Peppermint. It's just really sad to see because, she was really trying to advocate for like the transgender community and things like that. And it really sucks that she wasn't able to make it farther. I think, representation is always really great. And it sucks to she wasn't able to,
she seems like a very good person. And also, hey, Janelle, we love you.
Hi, Janelle.
But yeah, I'm so sad. I'm so heartbroken that she left this early because she could have done pretty well. Maybe, I mean, I could have seen her make it to the end, but I could also see her at least making it a little bit farther. But obviously, if it weren't for Trishelle, that literally was that screwed her. So, but I mean, she seems so much fun and just seems like very genuine and down to earth, and such a robbery.
I do think if Trishelle isn't there, I do think Peppermint does probably get murdered at some point, but I do think she would have at least made it past this round. Like, I think that definitely...
I could have seen her make it to at least like episode like 5 or something.
Yeah, probably. It really sucks that she goes. I really hope, spoilers, we have somebody coming back from season 1. Bring Peppermint back for season 3. Like, just make it happen.
Yes,
it was just unfairly robbed here. Just really sucks.
Ugh, I know. So Shereé is very angry at them coming up with this whole concoction, and Larsa says she didn't defend herself well. That is the problem.
I mean, she's not wrong, but like, I don't side with Trishelle here.
No, don't. Shereé says she always felt like she was a faithful, but after hearing everyone, she changed her vote, and she feels horrible for going with the majority.
Exactly.
Marcus tells Max they need to be mindful who was really quiet in there, and that they are likely the traitors.
Yeah, this was not the greatest thing to say because he's literally saying it in front of a traitor.
Yep.
Because Dan's literally in that room.
MJ talks to Phaedra, Shereé, and Larsa. that they need to watch out for their quiet people. And Shereé then says she is quiet, and MJ says she means the ones who just are quiet and make suspicious and nervous faces.
Yeah, I mean, this really gives us a sense that, like, oh, okay, these people have really been studying the Traitors, because that's exactly what happened last season. A lot of the quiet people made it to the end, and it's because they didn't really give all that much, and they focused more on, like, the louder players, where it's like this time around, it's like, yeah, watch out for the quieter people. They're gonna be more inclined to be the Traitors, because they're not gonna say as much. So it's a good strategy. I don't love who it affects, but it's a good strategy.
Deontay goes to Sandra and asks how
better this season.
Oh, these people are playing way harder than most of them last season.
They haven't gotten it right yet, but they're still like better than
these people seem like actually smarter though.
Yeah.
So Deontay goes to Sandra and asks how she's feeling, and she says she isn't happy because she was close to Peppermint, and he says she was a beautiful person, and that shit him hard because she had so many people going against her like that, and she knew it made him want to cry because he's related to it when people go against him, and it's not a good feeling, and now he's part of it.
Yeah, Deontay is like a very emotional guy. He really gives me the vibe of like probably gonna be bitter at the reunion. I can already
see it. I can also see Larsa being a better person too.
I can definitely see that too. I just don't think he's made for this show. Like 3 episodes in, I really just don't think it. But we'll see. He can always prove me wrong, but right now I just feel
I always like being proven wrong.
Yeah. Right now I just feel like he's a little too emotional of a guy to handle all this stuff.
Yeah. So Trishelle goes to Marcus, Max, and Dan, and she says she feels like an absolute piece of trash. And Max tells her she did that, and she says what was said at breakfast had nothing to do with her situation. Neither did her getting voted out. She was 95% sure if it was her. The problem is she told 2 people, and then 2 more people told other people, and the word got around fast. Max says he just thinks it was a little strange for him, and she gets up and leaves.
I mean, like, yes, but like you were the one that started it. Like, if you had not said anything, this wouldn't have gained like any traction whatsoever. So yes, it is your fault.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, at least she realizes that she was trash.
I mean, yes, but the fact that she can't take any accountability for it, that's the problem I have. Like, she's saying, oh, feel bad for me. I'm a piece of shit for this. It's like no, you literally started it. Like, just own it.
Yeah, just own it, and just take accountability, woman.
Yeah, because now you trying to be sympathetic to me actually makes you look worse. So
yep, she's trying to be the victim.
Yeah, fuck Trishelle, honestly.
Max said the first roundtable sucked. Picking up on Peppermint made no sense. It was a made up nothing, and that never happens. So, and that should not have ever been spoken about.
Yeah, exactly. Stupid.
Marcus then says to Dan that he does feel there were people that didn't say a word at the round table. Although he doesn't want to single him out, Dan says people think he's not talking, but that's just who he is, and it's hard for him to get a word in, and Marcus says all he can do is offer his opinion. But he does feel like anybody who didn't speak up was very happy with how the conversation was going, because they knew it wasn't directed toward the traitor. He doesn't think any of them have any information to truly know who the traitor is, but time will tell.
Yeah, this was really bad for Marcus. Like, this is literally the worst thing you could say. Like, I understand
he doesn't fucked himself here.
This, because, like, here's the thing. No, he doesn't say, Dan, I think you're a traitor, but this is basically saying, Dan, I think you're a traitor. Like, you were too quiet. You didn't say enough. Like, this is really bad for Marcus. He really just needed to keep this to like Larsa or like people he trusts and not say this to people he's suspicious of, because I mean, what happens in episode 3 is not shocking at all. This was not good.
Literally. All right. So everyone is heading to bed, and Janelle says she hopes to see them at breakfast tomorrow. Parvati talks to Dan that they missed the mark tonight hard, and there's a bunch of traitors up in there, and she says she hopes he's a faithful because they have literally nothing to go off of in the game. So Parvati is so excited to find out who her fellow traitors are. She feels like it's got to be Janelle or Sandra, and she's unsure who else would recruit her.
Which is a testament to how good Dan does here. Like, she's not even them or Phaedra.
Like, they're such a good duo. Like, they're literally like so strong, and they're like really playing it well.
Yeah, she doesn't even realize that she's working with the traitor right now.
Peter says to Larsa he prays he's there tomorrow. And Peter says to Larsa he prays he's here tomorrow, and she asks if he's scared, and he says no. John at first heads the wrong direction to the bedrooms, and Kevin directs him towards it. Oh my god, that was so funny.
That was so good. He was literally like walking to the right. Like it wasn't even near the stairs. It's like literally everybody's going up the stairs. Like, what are you doing?
It's so good.
Like, what do you think? They just want to like check out the bathroom? Like, what are you doing?
Probably, or maybe he was going to the kitchen or something.
I don't know what. It was great though. I love that we saw
good.
that.
I'm so glad they showed that.
Oh yeah.
So Phaedra thinks this new recruit is going to be very excited to have the power of being a traitor. This could be the beginning of a beautiful killer relationship. Dan says he wants to see the reaction when both of their hoods come off, and that's going to tell whether they are doing a good or a phenomenal job.
Mm-hmm.
Parvati says she is dying to know who the traitors are. They have the key to the castle, and maybe she was born to be a queen. She walks in and then puts her hood down and then discovers who the other traitors are, and she is in utter shock. And that's how episode 2 ends.
Oh, such a good cliffhanger. Such a good cliffhanger.
So good. They really know how to make a cliffhanger to make it like super intense.
Especially with it being weekly now, like the cliffhangers are gonna hurt that much more, but it really is a testament to, again, just how well edited this show is. Listen, first 2 episodes were really great. Episode 3, generally top tier. Like this is
so good.
Everything that you could have wanted in episode of the Traitors we get here. I really love this one a lot. So Parvati tells them that they were both crushing it. She truly had no clue and that this is a winning team. Parvati says that Phaedra and Dan are really savvy. She had no clue. And Dan says that they were both watching her all day today and think that she actually did a pretty good job. And she jokingly asked if it was good. Dan says that there's a ton of strategy in recruiting Parvati since she is known for being ruthless and cutthroat. His hope is that they can work together for the long term in this game, but in the event it doesn't, she's still an easy person to shove to the front of the line and call it the fact that she is a traitor. So they discuss murder plans a little bit, and that since Dan is the only one who won a shield, they can murder whoever they want. Parvati throws out Deontay as a possibility since he doesn't have a shield right now and likely could have one for every other challenge that they are physical. And Phaedra says that he's a true machine. Dan says that they need to look who can't catch up to them. He throws out Marcus as someone who's really concerned about, and Phaedra mentions how he was voted as the person's opinion that the players value the most, so that is dangerous, and it means he has a lot of control in the game, which, I literally forgot about this, but he was voted as the person that people trust the most, and Parvati says as long as he has Larsa, he will also have built-in protection, so if they murder Marcus, she will lose her mind. And I think we knew the showmance was probably going to be an issue here.
And honestly, like based on like the game, Marcus is definitely the better choice to go over Larsa, because yes, Larsa is in a good spot, unfortunately, but Marcus is definitely like the better.
He's more strategic. He's more strategic.
Yeah, he's more strategic. She's just bitchy.
She's a little too emotional. So Dan asks who else is well connected. Phaedra brings up Janelle as super smart and always gaming. Dan says that can do a lot of damage right now, and he thinks he will cause a lot of damage at the round table. So Parvati says people listen to her, which is not safe, and Phaedra also thinks it would be a powerful move. This is something that you can already tell, I think, is going to be an issue for Dan. I don't think he wants to get rid of Janelle. I don't think he's going to be able to. I feel like Parvati and Phaedra are going to want to do it, and Dan's not going to be for it. I'm kind of wondering, do you think Parvati and Phaedra are going to maybe plot against Dan and like take out Janelle, like to Dan's hey, or like are they going to be able to do it?
I don't think Parvati would like conspire against Dan because like they're our duo.
I could see Phaedra doing it.
I could see Parvati and Phaedra having like kind of going against each other at some point.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Because like if Phaedra finds out how close the other two are.
Yeah. So Parvati says there isn't much safety at all in joining a group that has already been established, but this is where all the power lives inside the turret. Now she's joined the inner circle. So after discussing, they do sign the death warrant and then deliver it to Alan, and we get to the breakfast here. And this was a very exciting breakfast, really just setting the tone for what it turns out to be a really just insane episode.
I know.
The first group to come on alive consists of Max, Larsa, and Phaedra. Max says that today his wish came true. He's the first at breakfast. He wants to watch everyone walk in the life of a professional dancer. He gets to meet a lot of people and has plenty of instincts about them, so he's here to play and win. Larsa then says to them that she will leave a chair just in case Marcus comes. Phaedra says to not say that and manifest him being alive. Very good for Phaedra. The way she's able to, I think something Phaedra's doing so well is having that poker face, like making her seem like, you know, because she generally does care about these people. She's being very sympathetic towards them, making it seem like, oh, how dare the traitors do this? Like, I think she's the person that everyone is least likely to suspect is a traitor. I think she's just doing a phenomenal job. So, yeah.
Oh, she really is. Like, nobody's like suspecting her, and like it's really working for her. I hope they don't suspect her later, but like, I can as of
I don't
right
think
now,
they will. I think if she keeps doing what she's doing, she's gonna be fine.
As of right now, I see Phaedra at least making finale.
Yeah, she's the one out of the three traitors I have the most confidence in, I would say. So
same.
Larsa then asks them who they all think is in danger. Max says Trishelle has to be with what happened yesterday, and basically, she says that it was clear that it wasn't Peppermint. So the next group to come out then consists of Tamra and Trishelle, who are they happy to see is alive. And Trishelle says after being very wrong last night, she wants to pull back a bit today. And I was like, oh, thank God. We don't have to deal with Trishelle next episode. So the next group alive consists of Dan and Peter. Dan then tells them with him having the shield, this is the first time he felt he could relax for the night. Peter says he didn't, so he was stressing, and he says to the group he's curious to see if this murder says anything, because if he was a traitor, he'd be totally randomizing it the whole way through, so no one is able to follow their trail. Dan says that Peter's putting together certain theories. He thinks he's pretty smart, but not smart enough to know he's sitting next to a traitor at breakfast. So, yeah, this is why I feel like Peter's going to be okay for a bit. He doesn't have the greatest reads, and I feel like that's going to be good for him. So
I could see him going around like maybe like I don't know, final 7 maybe.
Yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. So the next group also consists of John and Sandra. They jokingly asked John who he killed. So the next group to come out are Bergie and Kevin. Again, I keep forgetting Bergie's on this show. I really do.
Same.
So,
honestly, I could see like John being the person who keeps like getting like his name gets thrown out, but like I could see him sticking around though because of that reason.
There's a few people like that. Ekin-Su, Janelle, that's another one. Like I think those three are definitely going to be around for a while. So Bergie says he's super happy to be alive right now. Morals is a huge thing for him, but the game is about, and I had war flashbacks for a second, thinking about people in the reunion last year being like, oh, we need to play a game full of morals and
like, come on.
It reminded me of that. Like, I feel like Bergie also could be like a bitter, someone bitter at the end. So
same.
He says,
and he's another one who I can see, like just being like, yeah, let's all win the money.
Yeah. He says the game is about getting the upper hand, taking advantage of each other, and he thinks if he can find the right people and narrow it down to the end, he can just stay alive and under the radar, and he won't get killed. So Shereé and MJ then show up alive. CT shows up. Trishelle is very happy he is still here. Larsa says that every time the door opens, she's hoping and praying that Marcus walks through the door. They then realize, oh my God, it's down to Parvati, Janelle, Deontay, and Marcus. So just then Janelle walks out, as well as Parvati and then Deontay, and then this means, oh my God, Marcus was murdered. And Larsa's very upset about it, feels it doesn't really make any sense. So we then see the traitors discussing where Dan says that Marcus is one of the smartest players that could figure them out. Parvati says that he's got to go then. Marcus then reads the note. He has been murdered. He says he feels like he was way too much of a threat, but also feels people are jealous. He had his girlfriend in the castle with him, so they got him. And yeah, I mean, this is not shocking at all. I think Marcus was in a really good...
He really screwed himself at the end of episode 2.
He was in a really good spot, but I feel like as a faithful, it's not good to be in a really good spot. You want to be in like a bad spot as a faithful, because then the traitor, especially for the murder, like the traitors are more likely to protect you if you're in like a really tentative spot, Marcus just really outed himself as like someone who was on to Dan. And like once he said what he said to Dan, it was pretty much over. I was not shocked to see Marcus go here at all. He does seem like a really nice guy. He does. And I think that definitely he did have some potential. I think he really needed to be careful who he said things to, and he didn't. And I think that's what fucked him. And I think especially him having Larsa there as well, it just wasn't great. So yeah, Marcus going here, not shocking.
He seems like a very genuine guy, and he could have done well if like he didn't like fuck up at the end of episode 2. But like, yeah, he was just definitely the smartest move there.
Definitely. So yeah. So then Phaedra says,
you're at Phaedra's.
Yeah. So Phaedra says, I forgot for a second. Phaedra says she's the most unlikely suspect because she actually cares a lot about these people, but they must die. Love Phaedra for that. I saw that going around on Twitter. Great line, great confessional. Just really love it. Really gives the Shereé vibes.
Yes.
So, Larsa says she does feel like the traitors knew that Marcus was very influential and smart, and he was going to figure out who they were now. So now she will work so hard to uncover who they are and banish them tonight, and that is her main focus. And she really tries to like take on this like leadership role, and it just kind of made me dislike Larsa more, to be honest with you.
Like she's trying to do something, but it's not working.
Yeah, she wants so badly to like be in charge, and it's just annoying.
It is.
Alan then comes out, asks how they're all doing. He says the last night the traitors totally slayed it, and by it he means Marcus, as he became the second faithful to be murdered. So he gives Larsa his picture as a way to remember him by. She tells him to rest in peace. I thought it was really funny how they were she was acting like this was like an actual funeral or something, when it's literally like, okay, he's literally just murdered in the game. Like you can go see him.
Literally.
You can literally go see him in 2 weeks. Like you're good.
You can literally hang out with him after.
Yeah. So Alan jokingly says she is bringing the vibe down. He says normally he would tell them to finish their toast and meet him at the mission, but today's mission is going to be a little bit different. It's going to take place much later in the dead of night. So for now, they are to relax and enjoy the castle grounds, but beware of his peacocks, or perhaps plan the downfall of their enemies. Yes, beware of Peacock, a service that Ali can totally use. So
I mean, I use it with my with my VPN.
Well, yeah, not on your TV, but yeah.
I know.
So Larsa makes a toast to Marcus, saying he really was a voice of reason and could have helped them figure it out who the traitors were. So she thinks that's why he's here, but he's here in spirit. They will all find the next traitor, and she's never been more serious. Okay, whatever. Larsa, then I will say, this was good. She talks to Tamra, saying they both need to make a good decision for tonight and need to put their housewives skills together. This is really good. I think she recognizing that like there's a lot of housewives here. Let's stick together. Let's try to help each other out. I really do feel like a majority of this cast is going to underestimate their closeness. I don't think people are going to realize I don't feel like people are going to realize like Larsa, Trishelle, Shereé, Phaedra, and I believe there's one more that I can't think of. They're always going to protect each other. What?
Tamra?
No, I said Tamra.
Oh.
Is MJ a housewife?
Phaedra, MJ.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, and MJ, I mean, they're always going to be protecting each other. They're always going to be looking out for each other. And I feel like that's something a lot of people are just going to kind of overlook. And I feel like that's going to be really good for the housewives. Like, I generally think they might end up potentially steamrolling, but we'll see.
Yes.
I think this was really good for Larsa to take Tamra under her wing, be like, listen, we have a connection here. All the housewives are here. Let's try to stick together. I thought this was really good. So Trishelle then talks to Bergie about Marcus being murdered. Bergie says he never really talked to him, so he knows nothing about him. And she says she talked to him a lot. He gave very logical and good advice. So likely a traitor had to have talked to him a lot to know that he was really good at the game. So Parvati, John, and Ekin-Su come over. Parvati asks who she'd suspect. Trishelle mentions Dan since he isn't giving any information, but he also seems so reserved. So maybe he is just really quiet. So not great for Dan. Dan's already being thrown under the bus a little bit here.
Can Trishelle just keep Dan's name out of her mouth? Thanks.
Trishelle, maybe just don't speak. Don't speak.
Just don't speak about like the good people.
Target target Larsa. That works,
Yeah, just target the like annoying ones.
Yeah. So Parvati talks about how they're sniffing around Dan, and if she's the only one defending him, that will look really bad for her. But she loves Dan and wants to keep him around because she thinks he's a really smart player. So she's having mixed feelings. And again, credit to Dan. Like, he completely has Parvati now. She's fully on his side. She's always going to be defending him. Like, this is really good for Dan. So CT, Deontay, and Kevin talk. Kevin says he really thought it was going to be CT. Deontay agrees. CT then asked them if Marcus was a warning shot to Larsa, because why else would they choose him? Max comes in, doesn't really say much other than looking skeptical, and says he has no idea what the motive is, as he was just watching people. And again, just Max really does not do a great job in this episode. Really doesn't give anybody anything.
He doesn't really know how to play these kinds of games.
Yeah, it's just like, yes, you want to keep your cards close to your chest, but I feel like he's keeping it too close, where it's like he's not giving them anything. And it's like, you gotta at least give something, or else people are really going to think you're suspicious. And specifically with them targeting like quiet players, this was not a good episode for Max at all. So Donnie then said, who's Donnie?
Donnie Osmond.
Yeah. Chris's father is playing.
What if they had Chris and Donnie on here?
Yeah, when are they gonna get claim to fame players? Like, get that for season 3. Come on.
Please, so get the whole cast of season 2.
Not the whole cast, but
not everybody, but like the fantastic ones.
So all of them. But
I mean,
Deontay says after Marcus was murdered, Max is looking very suspicious, and with him looking nervous, he's no actor. He always tells people to follow his heart and not his mind, because when someone follows their heart, what they say and do, they won't regret, and he's following his heart on this one. Honestly, kind of based. Like, I kind of agree with that. It's like, you want to follow with your heart, because it's like, then you know what you're doing. So Max gives a incredibly general response here. He says he thinks everyone is just focused on who it is and how it relates to them and what's going to happen today at the round table. He says he can't wait for the discussion today. Just really bad, really bad. He's not giving any insight whatsoever. There's nothing.
He seems like a good guy. He's just like, he doesn't know how to talk like game wise.
Yeah, I think he just really just doesn't know how to fully strategize. I think that's really his issue here, is like, you need to be so careful with what you say. And like, yes, he knows what happened to Peppermint, and Peppermint said too much, but you're saying too little. Like, you're not saying anything. Like, that's the problem here, is like, you're not saying anything at all, and it's really hurting him. So yeah, this was, again, just not great. So Larsa talks to Sandra, Janelle, Shereé, Phaedra, and Dan, saying they all need to figure out who the traitors are. She'd love to banish a traitor tonight. She asks what they're all thinking. Janelle says it has to be a man, because a woman wouldn't get rid of Marcus or bananas. Dan says he isn't a vibe person, but an action person, so he was hoping there would be some kind of tie in the murders, but he hasn't seen anything. Larsa says it's probably a man and they need to hone in on the men. Dan says that Larsa keeps giving him the evil eye and some weird vibes, so he's really not sure what to do here. And then we get to the mission, which was a really spicy one, I will say. So it's time for the next challenge.
Since we're both doing this one, maybe I'll just pick up at like the round table.
That's what I have your name at the round table. So
okay.
You get to talk about all the exciting stuff. So
well, I mean, the whole thing's exciting.
But especially the round table and on, like, oh my God. So all right. So it's time for the next challenge. The players are thrown into a graveyard where Kevin says reminds him of the Lord of the Rings mixed with Nightmare Before Christmas. He feels both movies suck for them to be in play a game in. So Tamra says graveyards are her biggest fear. She will not be buried alive. So Alan then welcomes them to the dark side tonight. They will go grave digging for gold, as he says. The mission is very straightforward. They are to find the gold that is hidden in the grave tombs and crypts in the cemetery behind him to get inside the most valuable burial pot. They will need tools which are hidden inside the cemetery. So once they have dug up all the gold, they are to bring it to him and place it in the wheelbarrow to add to their prize fund. Within some of these tombs are 3 shields. However, that's not all. He shows them his seeking searchlights, in which if they are caught in any of the searchlight beams, they will be eliminated from the competition along with any gold they are carrying. Half of them will start in the cemetery. The rest will stand by the gates, awaiting their turn. Each time someone is caught by the searchlights, another player will take their place and join the search for gold. So once they're out, they're out. They will now need to discuss which the first 9 of them are playing. I will say one quick nitpick with this. Really had a hard time discerning who the first 9 were. I was trying to like write it out and I just couldn't figure it out. So I just kind of didn't write that. So
yeah.
Janelle, again, is just kind of her selfish self here. She says she immediately knows that she wants to be playing in the second group. So it's more strategic to have the guinea pigs in the front to kind of die out so she can watch how the game works and then go in and potentially get a shield. MJ wants to show
such a like villain.
Oh yeah. But she owns it, and that's why we like Janelle for that. So.
Oh yeah.
We don't like her on Twitter, but
we don't like when she says like problematic things. But
no. So MJ wants to show how valuable she is because she wasn't strong or tall enough to get the scarecrows off in the last mission, but this time she is short enough to bend down and dig, so she's going to dig for her life. Janelle is once again adamant to get the shield, but Ekin is at first in the way. She runs into her and is able to acquire it. And once again, Janelle has the shield here. So after a lot of grave digging, they're able to find the gold and have now added an additional 19K to their prize pot. Janelle, Peter, and Tamra are also ineligible to be murdered. So following the mission, Ekin-Su is not happy with Janelle here. She says that she barged into her, ran off, she touched it, literally hurt her arm, and yanked the shield from her. She says she hates bitchy girls. And I mean,
this is another really... petty rivalry that needs to like keep around.
This is not what happened. Like, I think Janelle literally just elbowed her. She didn't grab her arm or anything.
She literally just like bumped into her or whatever, elbowed her.
Yeah, Larsa also is feeling Janelle is like really selfish because Ekin-Su was getting the shield with Peter and Janelle elbowed her and took off running. So Janelle is also complaining about her taking the shield from her, but she has a completely different account of events. She says that Ekin was behind her. She looked over, touched her back, but she already had the shield in her hand. She literally just walked over with Peter and grabbed it, and she grabbed it from her. She says she didn't touch her, though. She says if she talks shit about her, she will have to talk about it, which, I mean, that is what happened. Ekin-Su, like, I don't know what she's trying to say, but...
I see this, like, with, like, a Janelle versus, like, the Housewives girls.
Oh, yeah. Well, Ekin-Su's not a housewife, but yeah.
Wait.
Ekin-Su's from Love Island, UK.
Oh, yeah, it was UK.
Yeah.
But I mean,
she's also, I think she's the youngest person playing.
Let me actually check.
Yeah.
She is 29 right now.
Yeah, she's the youngest person. So Max says his game plan here is to be part of all the conversations that are happening, and he doesn't do a great job with that.
No.
So Ekin talks with MJ and asks who she'd banish if she has to banish one person. She says Dan because of how quiet he has been, and he doesn't talk about anything that has to do with being here. She wants to put him in the hot seat and ask him point blank to plead his case. MJ talks about how Dan isn't safe. He needs to stand up and defend himself. So Parvati talks to Deontay.
Just keep Dan's name out of their mouth.
Yeah, literally. Just don't do Dan. Not Dan. We don't have to do that.
No.
We don't have to do that. So Parvati talks to Deontay, CT, Peter, Sandra, and Dan about it if they have a better strategy going into the round table. Max walks in, and remember, Max said he wants to be part of all the conversations that are happening. He walks in, they tell him he's invited, and he walks right back out.
Like, what?
I don't understand him. I literally don't understand him.
That's so bad.
This is the second time he's done this, too. This is so bad.
Oh, God.
And Deontay at this point is like very much onto Max. He says he's going for him. He saw a dramatic change of behavior and he can't look him in the eyes now. Even when it was breakfast and Marcus wasn't with them, Max didn't seem surprised. CT says he doesn't have a fucking clue what's going on. I don't either. Why is Max doing this? So Peter talks to Kevin and kind of big brains this a bit. He says that he doesn't feel he's a traitor. Kevin says that Janelle is his top suspect. Peter says it can't be her logically because she's acting a bit too aggressive, and he thinks that she's legitimately scared of a murder. That's Janelle for you. She's always going to be very over the top and things like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I like that Peter already is kind of like recognizing that, like, no, that's just who Janelle is. Like, I don't think we have to worry about her too much. Also, hi, Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Yes, I just saw that he liked the thing. So he
And
says
also
that they...
Sean, and also Sean Pierce also did.
Yes.
Love him.
Yes, we do. He says that they have trust here and they need to fake a little bit of tension between them. So he thinks they both need to vote for each other tonight at banishment and act like they are not each other's biggest fans. And Kevin agrees, at thinking if the traitors see them going for each other, they will be more inclined to keep them both around. What do you think of this strategy? I've never seen this before.
I think it's kind of like spicy. Those two could be like a very low key duo, but I don't see. I mean, I don't see Kevin making it that far. Peter, I can definitely see making it farther than him, but I definitely don't see either of them winning. But I am here for this duo where they're just like pretending they're not, but they are, like a very low key silent killer duo.
I think it's a good strategy as long as neither their names are in the fire, and it works for this round because Kevin's name is not in the fire. Although Peter's not the only one to vote for Kevin, which we'll get into.
I know.
So yeah, I mean, very interesting strategy on Peter's part. I think it did work out because now it shows Kevin that, like, I have your back and this is what I'm doing. But it's not good if you're not sure where people are voting. So, you know, it was risky, but it did seem to pay off. So good on Peter. Good on Peter. For So Parvati tells Dan that his name is floating around. He asks who's saying it. She says a bunch of people, but it was because of him being too quiet. Dan is now realizing he's no longer on Easy Street anymore. And if you're noticing, there's like 5 names being thrown out right now. You have Max, you have people saying Dan, you have some people saying Ekin-Su, you have some people saying Janelle. So like, let's just get to
except Janelle's safe, so she can't be.
Yeah, let's just get to the madness of this roundtable because this was literally insane. Go right ahead.
All right, so heading into the roundtable, Larsa says she wants to get revenge for Marcus's murder and banish a traitor tonight.
Good luck with that.
Good luck. Go off, I guess.
Yeah, because like literally everyone's a mess this round, but sure.
Dan is expecting to get heat, and so he's going to make sure that when it happens to have a great defense, and he'd be very poised when he does.
Yeah, I mean, that is what he does well. He is very good. That is the one thing I will say about Dan is like he is very good at defending himself and making him seem innocent, and I think he's doing that well. Again, I think the issue is just he's not good in like big group settings. He just doesn't. He doesn't talk.
I think it's just the anxiety. He gets very anxious, but he also is very articulate.
He's very introverted. That's the thing. He's very introverted, and that's not something that's going to change. And I think that might be an issue for him. But I do think he handles himself very well. Table.
So Deontay says the last roundtable was horrible. He felt so bad about Peppermint, and he's hoping they can take out a traitor tonight.
We'll see.
Ellen arrives at the roundtable and welcomes them. Bergie immediately starts off saying he heard a lot of Dan's name today, and if people want to speak up, they need to do so now.
I guess this is what's going to happen at the roundtables. People are just going to like speak up immediately and be like, let's talk about this.
Dan says he's 1000% faithful. He knows he's quiet, but if that's a crime, so be it. It takes him a little while to open up, but he looks at it as an asset. To the faithful, when he says a name, he wants people to say this is him taking a shot. And he doesn't miss. He doesn't want another Peppermint because that's just not how he plays. And MJ says if they all played the game the way he did, there wouldn't be any risks or conversations or the game for that matter. And that to her is way too safe and just trying to fly below the radar.
I mean, she's not wrong, but I do think Dan handled himself well here. It's like, listen, I'm just being myself. This is who I am. I just want us to go for a traitor. Let's just move on. But MJ is like really onto him at this point. I was like, no, this is not happening. Dan's not going here. That's not happening.
Deontay says he does think Dan is a faithful and he hypes people. So don't confuse his personality of being quiet for being a traitor, because for some people that's how they are, but certain people have changed up on him from the first time he met them. And he brings up someone that's intelligent and charming and wears a poker face that can fool a clown, and he thinks Max is a traitor because of the way he moves, smiles, and speaks, and he's a shot caller.
I love how he just like immediately is like, nope, we're throwing Max out here.
Because I mean, Max just hasn't played this well at all. Like,
And and honest, he does himself zero favors at this round table. Like 100% makes things
he
worse.
doesn't help himself at all.
Yeah.
So he brings up how he walked into the room when Marcus was murdered and how fake his gasp and shock felt, and it was very bad acting, as if he already knew he wasn't going to walk through the doors. Sandra says on the day Peppermint was banished, she was looking around the table as they were picking up the slates, and when she saw Max, he put his hands over his face, and everyone was so serious and focused, and he was laughing, and she asks him to explain why. He says he's uncomfortable defending himself right away, but he had a great time in the moment and was just having a reaction. But that's what they have to do. They need to throw out more names, and he does exactly that. Bringing up the conversation between Ekin-Su and Janelle, which he found very strange, and he asked them to clear it up.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that Sandra's onto you, watch out. This is not good.
It's not good, y'all. Ekin-Su, it's really black and white, and there is no need to really explain it. So that's what she says. And she mentions the shield that her hand went in, and she grabbed it, and then Janelle did. And in that moment, in a rush, Janelle barged off and ran off. And Janelle points this out as false because her hand was never even in there. She was there way before. She came up to afterwards behind her. And Ekin-Su says she did it because she's a selfish person. And
she's a selfish person.
And she tells Max that is a smart way to put the attention on something else other than himself. And he says there's no need to overtalk and not let someone finish because it's also suspect. And she says maybe blinking and breathing is too.
Yeah, just really, really crazy.
Oh, so good. CT says he is under the assumption that making the two of them deflect and taking it off of him is exactly what a traitor would do, and he's not accusing him of anything, just speaking from his heart, and Max says that is also great strategy, because he thought of people today and he was included, so he thought about it, and CT
Max is literally just throwing anything at the wall at this point. Like, CT is trying to help him here. CT is saying, like, listen, we think you're a traitor, this is your chance to prove yourself, and instead, Max just takes it as, okay, you're a traitor. Like, no, this is like horrible.
So bad. So he thought about it, and CT says everybody who brings up his name would be included in a list. And Max says the first thing he told them was the first person that he would have wanted to go out first was Bananas. And CT says as soon as he brought it up, he immediately attacked him and called him a traitor and told everyone he got rid of someone he's known for almost 20 years. And Max continues to say he's not deflecting, and by this point, everyone is starting to think he's suspicious, including Deontay, who thinks he's explaining himself too much, and John tells him to go one at a time.
Yeah, I love the fact that John was like, can we, like, stop talking over each other? Like, it was too much for him.
He was like, kill me now.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Deontay tells the faithfuls to open up their hearts because if they don't know what to do, they will be a sheep and continue to follow the herd, and they will make mistakes and go back to their room feeling shitty like they did before. And at some point of time, they'd have to be a leader, not a follower.
Okay, but here's the thing. If you're not Bergie or MJ, all of you are wrong right now. So, like, all of you are being sheep.
Literally.
Because only Bergie and MJ have it correct.
Larsa does not feel any of them are on the right path right now, and they need to go in a different direction, work on a better strategy, and Deontay asks who she feels did it, and she says she loves Dan, but something about his energy is so calm and it uneases her, and he has a demeanor that scares her a bit, and she knows he's really good at playing these games, but Max isn't a gamer and neither is she. They don't go into these things and last until the end, so in her mind, she thinks Dan could be a killer, and Dan says he could do a better job of talking to her, but it's his personality. There's not a ton he can do about it, but he can do a better job of talking to her. And then from there, Ellen tells them the time for talking is over, so it's time to vote.
Absolute insanity. But even more insane is what the vote turns out to be, because at this point, it's like,
so good.
Who's even going to go? Is it Dan? Is it Max? Is it Ekin-Su? Like, what's really going to happen here? Well, for a while, the vote didn't seem to know either.
So Dan says MJ and Larsa are still giving him the evil eye. He doesn't know if he did a good enough job. Parvati is not ready to turn on Dan because that would not bode well for her as a traitor. So she is going to going to see Kevin as a traitor. He is an actor and could be performing.
Which I was like, oh no, is Kevin going to go here? Like, literally, we know Peter is writing his name down. This could have been so bad.
Mm-hmm. So Shereé is the first to vote, and she goes for Janelle because she feels she is either a traitor or a really selfish faithful.
Yep.
Bergie voted for Max, really trusting Sandra's opinion. MJ voted for Dan and assures him it's nothing personal. Phaedra voted for Ekin-Su as she has incited an estrogen riot today, saying Janelle did something, and she felt it was extremely strange with how different the stories were.
I would like to note, literally, we've had 4 people vote, and they've all voted for different people.
Like, so insane.
This is insane.
So great. I love it so much. Sandra is next to vote, and she went for Max. Peter is next, and he voted for Kevin, saying he thinks he's been doing a really good game so far at sliding under the radar and keeping heat off of him. Mm-hmm. John votes for Max. Janelle voted for Max, feeling he added... Oh, hi. We're almost done this Traitors podcast. Thanks. Just my mom bringing dinner. Yeah. So Janelle voted for Max, feeling he added a lot of fuel to the fire of her and Ekin-Su's fight. Max has voted for Ekin-Su, confused by her story. Larsa has voted for Dan because of how safe he is playing it. Parvati has voted for Kevin based on how good of an actor he is, and it's highly possible he could be a traitor based on that. Kevin has voted for Peter because he felt he needed to go with his gut and made a mistake to going with the herd to begin with. Trishelle has voted for Max at the last minute. Deontay voted for Max, and if he's wrong, he's sorry. Ekin-Su voted for Max, which he is not surprised about. Dan voted for Max. Tamra votes for Max. CT has voted for Max based on how much he can't trust him and the fact that the one time he tried to talk to him about game, he destroyed his character and lied about him.
Exactly. It was so bad.
Terrible. So after an absolutely insane and messy round table, Max has received the most votes and now must reveal if he is a faithful or traitor.
Before we get to the reveal, though, I do want to mention the vote count for this round is literally insane. So there's like 18 people left in the game. Yep. Only 10 of them voted in the majority. It's literally 10 to 2 to 2 to 2 to 1 to 1. Like, it's names everywhere. I love it.
Oh, it's like, literally like wild. Like these people are so messy.
Oh yeah. BBUS could never.
Literally. He tells them he promises he won't give a long speech, but he is such faithful. They are once again all shocked and in despair.
Yeah.
Larsa tells them they were all going on the wrong things just because someone's quirky or laughs and they need to dig deeper. She also says Deontay and Sandra were very influential, and that's a strong, wonderful character trait, but he was faithful, and so was Peppermint, and they are both getting knocked off, and they have to be careful.
I will say Larsa is definitely like on the right track. I just hate how much like she's trying to like be a leader.
Yeah, same. Like she's doing well, like with like some of her strategic mind, but she's just very annoying.
Yeah, agreed.
Janelle talks to Sandra and Bergie and says Deontay is very convincing, and Bergie says the traitors are just laughing at him, and Janelle says she listened to him and made her change her mind. Phaedra talks to Kevin, Ekin-Su, Tamra, and John and says the thing about Max is she just didn't believe he was a traitor, and Ekin-Su says it's time they caught at least one traitor, and they all agree. They talk to Deontay about it, but he seems very upset, and he says he doesn't know how much longer his heart can do this any longer, and this has fucked with him so too much. Phaedra goes to console him.
Which was really good for Phaedra, who literally like just orchestrated like what happened. But no, I thought this was this really makes me feel like, because there's a rumor going around, since we know, spoilers, Kate is coming back. They've announced it like in the trailer. There's probably going to be a quit. I really feel like it's Deontay. Like I really feel like it's gonna happen. I feel like this is just gonna be too much for him, and he's gonna be like, I gotta go.
That makes the most sense in my opinion. Like, he's a good guy. This is definitely like way too much for him.
Yeah.
He probably didn't realize like how like heartbreaking it could be.
Yeah.
Phaedra says Deontay is so emotional and stressed about Max's exit because he's the champion of his friend's departure, This is not what he does. He's a world champion boxer, so doing this for the first time is taking a real toll on him.
Mm-hmm.
So getting into the Traitors turret.
Yes.
Or turret.
Turret, yeah.
Turret, yeah. Alan tells us this time around the murder they all pull off will be a murder like no other.
And my God, what an amazing way to end this episode. The last 10 to 12 minutes, so riveting.
It's like chef's kiss.
Oh, yeah.
They each receive a vote saying tonight there will be no secret meeting in the turret. Instead, they must murder in plain sight before the night is through. They must decide together which faith to murder. With the poison chalice. In the library, they will find a set of 3 Shakespeare tragedies, Hamlet, Othello, and Macbeth. Inside one of these books, they will find the poison chalice. Whichever faithful's lips touch the chalice first, they will be murdered. This is a slow-acting poison. They will not know when it takes its full murderous effect.
Mm-hmm.
Dan says he's worried about
this is such a great twist. I really love this a lot. And I feel like generally they did stuff like this because of the traitors that they have. Like, you could not have done this last season. Like, Cody and Christian would have like fucked themselves immediately. Like, they would have fucked everything up. Like, it would have been so obvious what's going on. But having like Dan, Parvati, and Phaedra, like, who are
the best 3 to have this, honestly.
Yeah, especially having Dan and Parvati, who are so like stealthy with what they do. Like, it's perfect. It's perfect. I love this so much.
It's amazing. Dan says he's worried about just getting the chalice out of the library books because they have to do the whole thing undetected. Parvati says it's really not easy in this castle to meet with Dan and Phaedra and have this conversation and decide who they are going to murder. There's people in all the different rooms. Everyone is watching each other and people are on high alert.
Yeah, and the 3 of them don't get to talk about this, which is really exciting.
It is. It's so good. Dan and Parvati meet and she asks who he wants to murder and throws out John, and he says it would be good because they would know he is a faithful, but the bad reason is it's one less guy, and if all of them are gone, they will go after him, so they have to get a girl out, and she agrees and bring up MJ but she thinks it may be too obvious since she wrote his name down and asks if he wants to get her, and he asks if people will think it's too obvious. And she says they should do it. So he brings up Shereé, and she says Phaedra would never let them vote that way. And he says she wouldn't have to. And she agrees that they could just do that, and Phaedra will be pissed. And he says they would come up with a good reason why. That she was really quiet and didn't know where she was coming from. It's either John, Shereé, or MJ. And he says she will have to do it. And she tells him to give her the chalice, and she will survey the scene.
And as much as I love Shereé, I really wanted this to be her. It would have been so exciting. Like, just Phaedra's reaction. I would have loved that. Because this is what Dan does best. Like, he does the thing that's in his best interest, but isn't in, like, anybody else's. And, like, this would have been so good. But, you know, we'll talk about what happened.
Oh, so good. Parvati says she is a full-on trained assassin in this moment. There's zero adrenaline running through her body, and she's just thinking who the best target to make this happen in the most nonchalant way, where she won't be implicated in this.
Yeah, I mean, Parvati is very much like the main character of this mission. Like, it's all on her.
Oh, yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
Dan hangs out in the bar with Phaedra, Larsa, Tamra, Shereé, Kevin, and Peter. He walks away and makes his move. Phaedra says this mission has her nerves on edge. She's really going to leave it up to the 2 of them because she doesn't hang around her traitors. She just hopes this murder doesn't come back to bite her.
Which is really smart, I will say. I think it's really good that she doesn't hang out too much with Dan and Parvati because they won't suspect it. She mainly just hangs out with like the housewives or other people. Like, she tries to stay away from them, and it makes it so people are a lot less like suspicious of her. It's not great here because they could absolutely be doing what's not in her best interest. So, because it should be noted, at least from what we see, they don't talk to Phaedra about what they're doing. They just do it.
Yeah. They literally just like the duo just talk together.
Yep.
Dan says this is so complicated. There are so many people around. They got to get this chalice from the magic book. Parvati walks around and Dan starts looking through the books in the library and she is nearly caught by Deontay.
Yeah, it was like literally a split second. Like Deontay was literally right there in the
I
library.
know. Parvati comes in and she finds the chalice in one of the books.
Yep.
Parvati goes behind the bar and serves alcohol to several of her faithfuls. She watches John and Shereé closely, racking her brain thinking how to get someone to drink out of this.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's literally like a very like rusty, disgusting looking chalice. Like it's not easy
I know.
to drink out of that.
It's so like insane. Phaedra says as soon as she saw Parvati by the chalice with Shereé, while it is a game, she will not be killed on her watch.
Mm-hmm.
Parvati says she knows what she can get away with and what she can't, but she's not going to stick her neck out and murder someone who is in the middle of an insulated group, so she decides to abort the Shereé mission.
Yeah, which was smart. I think that would have been really bad. There were like so many people in there, and especially having Phaedra there as well, probably not good to murder Shereé. I would have loved to see it happen because it would have been really good TV, but like...
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would have been so great. She walks away from them under the guise of figuring out what she's drinking. Yeah, she goes over to another... Deflection. What?
It was a really good deflection.
Ugh, so good. She goes over to another room with a big group of people that consists of Janelle, MJ, Trishelle, Peter, Bergie, and Dan. She stands right by MJ, and during they're all discussing who the traitors may be. She looks at MJ, who she realizes isn't going to sip out of a rusty old cup. So the pressure is on. She is unsure who to give it to, knowing it has to be someone in this room. And she ultimately sets her sights on ... We'll find out next week.
I think this is Trishelle. I really think this is Trishelle because they said
I can honestly see her giving it to Trishelle. That'd be so spicy.
Because they said it was going to be a girl. They wanted it to be, they wanted to get a girl out. I feel like it's like I don't think it's going to be Peter. Like I just don't think that's going to happen.
I could
Bergie, maybe it could be Bergie.
Maybe
it's either Bergie or Trishelle. That's what I think. But yeah, I mean, what an exciting way to end this. I am just...
But who's going to be pissed off that Trishelle's gone?
CT.
Yeah.
Not going to be great for CT, but I don't think CT is suspicious of Parvati, so I think that's going to be fine for her. I do worry...
He'll probably just be, like, very confused.
Yeah. He's going to be like, damn, all my challenge besties are going out. What am I going to do? But... yeah, in regards to Dan, like I do think Dan can recover from this. I think he can easily, like, just try to talk to people more, try to like make a connection with people. I think MJ and Larsa are the people he really needs to like focus on, try to like, strategize with both of them a little bit more. I think that would be good. I really do think that Kevin is in serious danger in the next episode. Obviously not this episode, but the next episode, I think Kevin could absolutely be murdered. In regards to who is next in terms of like the round table, I could definitely see Ekin-Su. I could definitely see that happening. I think Deontay is definitely a possibility.
I don't see it being Dan yet, because like I can see them just keeping his name out of their mouths for at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Janelle will probably just win the shield again.
Yeah, I feel like she's always going to go for the shield, so she's never going to get murdered. And also, Dan's not going to murder her. That's the thing. Like, Dan's going to protect her from getting murdered, just like how Parvati's going to protect Sandra from getting murdered, or at least we think she will. And how, and how Phaedra's always going to protect her housewives. So, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. There really aren't many options here. So...
based on the end of this, she was very protective of Shereé.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what's gonna happen there. I feel
excited
because I feel like Dan and Barb.
This was like the best way to end this episode. I'm just so hyped for it.
Oh yeah, I feel like the next episode is gonna be top tier, and I can't wait to see how it all plays out. Before we do give some other predictions, though. They did this thing that I'm really happy they did. It's called the Traitors Postmortem. And I do want to talk a little bit about some of the things we heard about because they gave us a little bit of insight on some things. So we start out with Bananas here. He says that it felt like if he went for the shield, that it would put a bigger target on his back. He actually takes being murdered by the traitors first as a badge of honor. It just proves he was the biggest threat in the house. And they also say they think he could have potentially won the game. I will say his Twitter it sounds a little different. It seems like he's a little bit more bitter. But You know, we didn't really get a ton from Bananas here, but we get a little bit of insight as to like how he's feeling.
Like we got very little from him. Like we got some stuff, but like just like his edit was like, yeah, he's definitely going pretty soon.
Yeah. Did you watch the postmortem thing?
I don't think I did. No, I didn't yet.
Oh well,
Okay.
I'll just spoil it for you here. So
it's all good. I mean, I'll still watch it later.
the Traitors then feel that Peppermint, talking about her, she was too social and talkative. I would probably agree with this. I think she definitely said a little too much, especially at the round table. Peppermint feels what Trishelle said was ridiculous, that she actually thought she'd murder her because of her outfits being better than hers. Her strategy was to connect genuinely with people in an authentic way and allow them to experience the same thing she wanted viewers to experience, which is getting to know people from the LGBTQ community or a trans person, and she wanted to come with full energy to give a platform to her community. She will keep being herself, and that will never stop. We love her for that. And I like that she, you know, owns the fact that, like, you know, this was my strategy, but I don't really care about what I did wrong. I'm here for my platform. I'm here for my people. I thought that was great. I really like that.
So good.
I also like, I know you didn't watch it, they give a lot of insight into how the Traitors were feeling during this moment. And I thought that was really good too, because it kind of gave us some context. What?
That's so good. I love that.
We spend a lot of time here on Max, but we do get a little bit from Marcus where he says that his strategy in the game was to be a sponge, basically. He wanted to meet all the players, learn their personalities, try to hear more than he actually spoke up, but he felt as the game progressed, his strategy shifted. There was more stuff to talk about as the missions went on, so maybe he tipped his hat and alerted some of the Traitors that he was on their trail. It was unfortunate to find the death warrant, but it was to be expected. He and Larsa apparently joked before the season that he would be murdered before her because he felt like people would want to keep her around and get him out, and it's unfortunate the Traitors viewed him as a strong player to abort their plan. So he views it as a backhanded compliment. I like that he takes it in stride and recognizes, like, yeah, I fucked up here. I said too much. I like seeing that. Especially after what we got at the reunion last season. I didn't like that very much. So we really do spend a lot of time on Max here. Parvati says that she wishes that Max would have stayed because she felt that they had a good rapport and she would have kept working with him. Makes sense. She didn't vote for Max. She voted for Kevin. So she really didn't want Max to go in this moment. Dan says that he was surprised how quickly things turned on to Max because at the beginning it was throwing ideas out and then it zeroed in on Max between Sandra and Kevin. And 1-2 people jumped on it. It could happen anytime and it was hard to get out of the crosshairs. Max says that he wasn't laughing or smiling in a cynical kind of way. He was laughing because he knew that she was about to have a moment of her life where she was going to tell them all they were idiots. And 90% of those people had no reason to name her. And this is what he should have said at the round table. Like literally, if he had said this, that would have been fine. Like I think
he could have fought harder.
Yeah, like his energy in this interview, this is what he should have said at the round table. Instead, he just like literally threw everybody's name out that he could think of.
Yeah.
So,
like he literally didn't fight. Like he didn't fight for himself at all.
No, he just kind of threw people under the bus they didn't need to, that were vouching for him, like CT, for example. So Dan says he's not comfortable at round tables, but he's good at reading the room at where the energy is going. He wanted to jump on that wave because he didn't want to stick out like a sore thumb. So Max isn't sure he defend himself well at the round table because he saw he's next and he saw a very limited time to deliver information that he had in his head. Dan compares it to watching a train wreck because it was such a bad read on his part and that was just his personality. The most interesting part of this, I think, is what Parvati says here. So she talks about how Max was a scattered vote as so many people were going in different directions, and the Traitors actually hadn't discussed where they were voting ahead of time. That's why they all voted differently. There wasn't a plan of any kind. She thinks it's good they all vote in different directions because it would have looked like they were all working together. So yeah, that's why the vote was so messy. Dan, Phaedra, and Parvati didn't even talk about the vote prior. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. So Max says he knew it was coming, but he's surprised it happened so early, but also kind of proud. He feels like they're just trying to get rid of strong players. So he's in the top 3. He got banished by a well-organized plan from the Traitors. He's not upset at it, which is not true. It wasn't well-organized at all. It was literally random. So he says he's happy for them because he would do the same in their place. One thing I did want to point out that people were saying is that they don't reveal the identities of the Traitors. And some people are suspecting that's because they think maybe there'll be a buyback I don't know how you do that in this game. That's the thing. Like, how do you
I
resurrect
don't
somebody?
know. Yeah, it's hard to say if there's gonna be a buyback, but
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
No, I don't know. I feel like this is not the kind of game to do that. It
No, I
might be
don't think so either.
spicy, but like, no, I don't think. I think we have enough drama in this cast. I don't think we need that.
No, I don't think so either. We don't need that.
But overall, like, I really like this segment. I think it's a really good.
I
I
need to
think
watch it.
it's a really good adjustment to the show. I'm excited to see what we get in future installments of Postmortem. I mean, moving forward, they're going to be a lot shorter because they're only going to be covering one episode. But
Because
yeah,
everything else is this weekly.
I really enjoyed the Postmortem quite a bit. But yeah, other than that, I mean, the only other thing to really speculate on is the fact that, yeah, Kate is coming in. It was announced that she's going to be coming back. Do you think she's going to be a traitor or a faithful?
I mean, I could see them possibly recruiting her as a traitor, but I don't know. I could see her just being a faithful, but
Mhm.
who knows? Like, if it'll be very interesting though to have her back already.
Yeah, and then we also did see Dr. Will is in a clip. We don't know what that is. I think he's just there for a comp. I don't think he'd be sitting on like the porch, like smiling and shit. I think we'd probably see him like in the house or in a confessional. So I think he's probably just there
Yeah.
to do a comp of some sort, but we'll see. I do think it's going to be really exciting to see like Janelle's reaction to Dr. Will being there.
Oh my god, right? It's gonna be so interesting because like she got him out in All Stars.
Exactly. So, and I don't think they've talked since then. So I think that's going to be really exciting to see how that plays out. But yeah, anything else you really want to say in terms of like predictions?
I mean, I just opened also the Postmortem. I'll watch that later. But yeah, I'm just very excited to see what's gonna happen next. Like I'm so glad we've talked about these episodes. It took us 3 hours.
That's what I expected it would. It was a lot to talk about.
Oh yeah, like just with this cast, like in general, it's like already so spicy, and they're all like so messy, full of drama. And I think there's gonna be way more drama to come, and I'm so excited.
Oh yeah, I don't think this roundtable we got this episode was a fluke. I think we're going to see more just random scattered votes like that. I think there's going to be a lot of people who just can't really get on the same page, and that makes it a lot more exciting. I think last season there was a lot of just kind of like piling on the same person. It wasn't as exciting. I think this season not going to be the case. I think this is going to be way more exciting to watch, and I'm really excited to see how this all plays out because I'm already really loving the season a lot. I think it's really living up to our expectations. So yeah, I mean, just give me more.
Like,
of this is generally like top
it's already
TV.
Oh yeah, it's literally reality TV gold. Like it's even better already than season 1.
No, yeah. And even the people I don't like at least they're giving something. Like I'm not a fan of Larsa. I don't really like Trishelle. I really hope Trishelle is murdered next. I feel like that's
I hope so. I hope she's drinks out of the chalice.
Yeah. But I mean, I really worry for CT at that point, but we'll see.
We'll see.
I think Phaedra will probably like want to keep him around, but I don't know about Dan and
because of her crush on him.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, very good start. I think I'm really excited to see how this continues. Episode 3, especially, has me so excited for the rest of this season, and I really do feel like this is going to be what we hoped for. I really do think that's how this is going to turn out. I love the traitors we have. I love the little twist they did where now you can just get a shield in every single challenge. It makes it so much more exciting. We have a lot more rivalries going on and things like that. So yeah, overall, I think this is going to be a really great season. So
I think so too. Like this season has like a chance to be like so like top tier.
No, yeah. So things to plug right off the bat. We are going to be doing a Emmys live stream at some point.
Because we obviously didn't get to do like a live stream of the awards the other day, but we're gonna watch it and do a little review podcast for that pretty soon.
Yeah, so that's coming soon.
And then other than that, that's pretty much all we have.
Oh, that's not true. There's one more thing we have that I'm just getting ready to plug in a second. We do have, where is it? It's not coming out yet, but it is coming out soon. Where is it? I literally just saved this picture. Where is it? Oh, there it is. Okay. Hold on. 1 second. Oh, that's why. Okay. There we go. All right. Coming very soon, at the end of next month, we will be doing coverage of Deal or No Deal Island.
Woo!
I
It's
have
gonna be
no
so fun.
idea how this is going to be. It could honestly be absolute trash, but I feel like it's the kind of crazy concept that I feel like we should kind of just watch and see how it is. Maybe it'll be good. I mean, we got Boston Rob, we got Kim Mattina,
Yeah.
there's things to be excited about.
That'll be
But
so funny to watch. Like, I don't even know what to expect with this, but it's gonna be fun.
Howie Mandel isn't even hosting. It's Joe Magnello that's hosting, but we'll see how this turns out. I don't know. What are your expectations?
Oh wow. Oh, it's gonna be top tier reality TV.
Oh yeah. I can't wait. But
I'm just
yeah,
excited to see. I'm just excited. Like, even if it's bad, like I'm just excited.
we'll see how that turns out. Eventually, of course, Survivor at the end of next month as well. Very
We go to
excited for.
Canada when it's back. Hopefully
Yeah.
they bring back live feeds.
And I did mention this before in our last podcast, but The Trust did start up on Netflix. We are very interested in checking that out, even though it kind of just seems like The Traitors, but we'll see how that is.
We'll probably just do like a season review of that, obviously,
Yeah.
because there's only like one more episode. So
Yeah, it's literally almost done.
so we
we'll
might as well just do a season review.
Yeah, we'll definitely check that out. But other than that, I think that's pretty much it for our coverage.
And then of course we'll catch up on like Buddy Games, The Circle, The Mole, etc. at some point.
I literally forgot about Buddy Games. I heard it ends terribly. But anyway, that's pretty much it for our coverage of the Traitors US. So excited to see how the rest of this season does go down. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought of this first week of the Traitors US. And who do you think is about to get Chalice? Who do you think that's going to happen to? I really do. My money's on Trishelle, but we'll have to see.
Yes, I hope so.
But other than that, this is this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And remember, couples who podcast together, stay together. We will see you guys later.
See you guys.